My light. Can't do this shit up without my light.
Robert already beat the game. He said 65
Yeah, I
hours.
saw.
I don't know if that's because
He was
all
running
it
the.
says is played 10 days ago. It doesn't tell your hours yet.
Yeah, how does
So
he know?
maybe it says when he beat it, or he just kept track. He probably does.
Maybe he just kept track.
He's on a schedule, you know.
Oh, that's right.
So while you get your camera or your
Yeah, I'm trying to
light
find
set
my.
up,
Yeah.
this is gonna be a what's up, people. This is gonna be an entire Tears of the Kingdom podcast. I'll be repeating this multiple times because it's people aren't here yet. It's going to, if you haven't played it or at least done one temple, probably, and you don't want spoilers because you gotta talk. We'll talk generally about the temples we played without getting into specifics.
we. I
Yeah,
ain't played. I barely played a temple. But
really.
yeah,
Well, Robert probably
we'll
be
talk
here.
about that. I don't care. Like I'm fine. It's just a temple. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
You're
give you
gonna tell
my.
me what the story thing
If
is. So
somebody hadn't experienced a temple yet, I didn't want to like give them. You'll figure out. It's not gonna be anything like I'm not gonna be like giving any plot or any major
right.
puzzle solutions. I'm just gonna give my comparisons to the divine beasts, especially. But yeah, and before we get started, I've been playing a lot in portable mode, and I'm not. You know me.
You're not a
I'm
portable
not a
person.
handheld gamer kind of guy.
Yeah.
It just looks so damn good. So did Breath. I mean,
On the OLED.
yeah. So did Breath of the Wild. So did Metroid Prime.
Yeah.
But so I was like, why does it look so good? So I did some number calculating, and I came up with found some interesting results. So normally I game on a 65-inch TV, so 4K 65-inch 4K TV if the games are actually 4K, which the Switch isn't, but native 4K 65-inch, you get 4,500 pixels per square inch. So 4,593 for every square inch. That's how many pixels. For 1080p, which is what the Switch outputs, it's only 1,150 pixels per inch or per square inch. On the 7-inch OLED at 720p, it's 44,000 pixels per inch, which means that the
Christ.
pixels are so tiny, so condensed. That's why it just looks so smooth. You don't notice all the jaggies and the shadows, and you know you don't get all the shimmering when you're turning the camera because the pixels are so condensed. Like it almost smooths out everything, and I'm just like, I didn't know it was that much of a difference. 720p, you know, to 4K, that's like 8 to 10 times less pixels, but on the small screen, you really get a lot more pixels per inch. And when I blew it up onto the 92-inch screen, it's 573 pixels per inch. It's like how many times less is that than 44,000?
Oh my god. That's a fraction.
It's just nothing. So it looks amazing. I don't play on vivid mode. I see I've got somebody I've never seen before. Lelouch.
I gotta bring up on
Welcome.
YouTube.
He said it looks excellent on the OLED in handheld mode, very vibrant and colorful. I can't stand what do they call it? Not vibrant. What's the other option?
Vivid.
I'm not some picture calibrator, not I try to self calibrate and stuff. But when I look at that, my eyes hurt from the oversaturation. Oversaturation. It just doesn't, especially with Odyssey. I thought Odyssey looked really the red looked really ridiculous. So I play on the natural, whatever, the default, or not the default because Vivid's the default. At first you feel like, oh my god, this looks terrible, but once you let your eyes adjust, that's actually what I would recommend. But anyway, it looks great on there. I played quite a bit of Breath of the Wild on there the last couple weeks, and yeah, it just looks so damn good. And I mean, I don't even think it needs to be 1080 at that size of a screen. It doesn't need to be. As long as the game can hit the native resolution, it's going to look incredible. Whether that's Steam Deck, the new Asus, whatever. I don't even remember what it's called.
ROG Ally.
If you can hit the native resolution of the screen, no matter what, it's gonna look amazing. Like even that's true for basically any display. Like your TV, yeah, a 1080p native on a 1080p TV is gonna look clearer than a 720p upscale or a 540 upscale. So,
Yeah.
so Muhammad, what's down to 95? The Metacritic. So that would mean, God, I thought somebody said 95. I have them written down here.
I think I said 93.
I had me and Robert at 94, but I swear I said 94 because somebody said 95. So you had 93. Retro had 98. Airs and Aries both had 97. Sandstorm 98. Retro, I said Retro. Robert was 94. I was 94. Terrell 91. Visor Grunt 90. And Lenny said 92. Now, it was at a 96, but obviously, if that's what Muhammad's talking about, it's down to 95. It just was never going to be... It was never gonna be the game-changing experience that Breath of the Wild was.
It's impossible. It was completely impossible. It's set in exactly the same world. Yes, I know things are changed, but you can't. Breath of the Wild was so great because it was completely new. Mm-hmm. It was completely new Zelda. It was a completely new Hyrule, like we'd never seen before. So it was always going to be hard to match. Some people were thinking it's going to exceed it. I don't know how you were thinking that. As far as the Metacritic score goes, because people were going to dock it. Breath of the Wild
was at 97, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 97. People were going to dock it for that alone, and I think it's fair to dock it for that. I don't have a problem with that.
So. Honestly, I mean, we'll get into a lot of the ins and outs. I think the fusing thing, like I haven't even tried to do anything outside of building the signs for Addison to hold the sign up. Like I haven't really attempted to build some massive thing, but what I've seen people do on that level, I think exceeds any of the crazy shit we've seen people do with Breath of the Wild's physics and stuff. Like what I've seen, I thought there's gonna be a 15-piece limit for what you can combine. It doesn't seem like there is one. Like Andre from Game Explain, he had like logs, and it looked like at least 100. It was so long that it was like bending like you would think a long piece of wood would bend, and to the point where he's trying to move it slowly so it didn't break because it breaks under the pressure. I think that aspect of it has exceeded like anything Breath of the Wild brought to the table. But that to me is like, that's that fun sandbox stuff. But I haven't even built anything. So like really.
Far superior sequel. I mean, that's where we vary. Like, I don't think it's far superior. But
I mean, let's say like, here's an instance where to me, without a doubt, the game's better. I don't know what the Metacritic are, but God of War and God of War Ragnarok, they didn't reinvent the wheel. They've reused more locations, way more locations than Tears of the Kingdom. I was just playing Tears of the Kingdom. I warped to try to catch a fallen star or a star fragment, and I was like, "Where the hell am I?" I'm looking around. I'm like, right to the left was the Great Plateau over some trees. I had no idea where I was. I'm consistently lost.
And you've got 300 hours in that freaking game, Breath of the Wild, and I'm guessing I'm around 12 hours or so right now, and I just found an area that looked familiar to me. Like what? Like,
I was not expecting it to look that different, but
no.
Anyway, God of War Ragnarok.
I got 270
improved every aspect of God of War, in my opinion. Every single aspect. Now, it didn't reinvent the wheel. It didn't bring the God of War static camera franchise into this fully open world, narrative-driven, single camera shot that blew people's minds, but it's a better game.
Right.
There's just no ifs, ands, or buts. The level design, the story, everything.
I hope so, because I'm playing God of War right now, 2018, and I'm bored as shit.
The level design, and going back to the original God of War, speaking of getting lost, like it's just unnecessarily confusing.
Lost. Yeah.
Ragnarok, it didn't like dumb it down. It just made it more intelligible, like made more sense. Like this is where I should go, and there's a lot more open places to see where you need to go, and the map
Yeah.
system's a little bit
I'm so
better.
confused as far as
So
where I was, where I'm supposed to go in the
that
game.
improved upon every aspect. I'm just curious what the Metacritic is for both those, so I'm gonna look them up.
God of War, I think, is 96, and Ragnarok is 94 or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. 94, 93.
But that's a situation where okay, God of War 2018 is 94, so it
94.
Ragnarok
Okay.
might
It was
is
like a
a
93
94,
then.
so I got the same.
Oh, it's the same. Okay.
But I think that's just. I
Well, when
think
it
it's
starts that low.
yeah. I think it's significant. I think it's a significantly better game. So and it still is equal.
Right.
Like Forbidden West
And,
to me is better game, but I doubt. I wonder what it. That's an 88, and Zero Dawn was an 89. I
and
mean,
here's the thing. Like, I see what Retro Death is alluding to. Well, it's got all this more stuff. That's true. Had this game come out instead of Breath of the Wild, I think this bitch would have had a 99 or something,
mm-hmm.
98. But the problem is we've had Breath of the Wild. So no matter how much you improve on it, you can't just because people have played this game for 6 years. They played Breath of the Wild. It's been out there for 6 years. It's not gonna wow them the same way, even if you do improve on all these things. It's just that's just human nature. It's not
Whether
gonna
it's right
like
or
they're not
wrong.
gonna start at 90 whatever what was 97.
Mm-hmm.
They're not gonna say all right 97. We're starting at this point, and whatever it adds to, no, that's not how it works. They look at the game overall because they've already had Breath of the Wild. So you have to look at it overall. You can't start at 97 and go all right it was 97 and move up from that. No, that's not
Because
how it
in
works.
my Juice Opinions, I asked the question: do you want a third Breath of the Wild? Do you want 120 shrines again? Do you want Korok seed hunting again? I don't want to like necessarily give it out. I love that. I love how I love exploring. I
I
love the
don't know.
open nature.
I was gonna say
But
I'm not
do I want
sure.
to start over with a just let's start over? But they already confirmed that they're going to continue with this
Yeah. Well,
style.
again, I don't want to say to people, chill out. Just because Al Newman says something
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that's going to be
The
fruition.
game will
He
end up
said,
being the game. It ends up
right.
being whatever.
He said, because people are like, oh man, the Skyward Sword. He said, oh, I think this is the way we're going to do Zelda games from here out with the you know the Skyward mechanic, the
Mm-hmm.
holding that didn't last
Yeah.
past that game. So they're excited. This is what people want. Clearly, the game sold really well, and they're gonna say what people pretty much want to hear, which is, yeah, we're gonna continue this. I'm not sure myself personally. I mean, you can't have this same Hyrule again.
No, you
You can't.
can't.
It can't be a sequel to this Zelda. It has to be a new.
Well, they could. It could still be Link and Zelda going outside of Hyrule if you want to keep this, make it a third.
Yeah, if you want to make it a sequel to this, they got to go to some other. They got to
You
go to
can't. Yeah,
like
you can't remix Hyrule again. You can't have that
no.
happen again. I don't know. Like I said, we'll talk more about that later on.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I did my Juice Opinions. I was at that point. I had 46 shrines. I'm at 66 now. And I have no idea how many there are. I'm assuming 120, but there's more hearts. I don't want to spoil nothing, but there's more hearts in this game. The top row is 20, so it's 40 with both rows. I haven't got 20 yet, but I did the plus hearts healing stuff, and I'm like, all right, it should be in the bottom row, and it put 3 more on top of my 15. I'm like, oh shit. There's a lot of hearts in this, so maybe there's more shrines, but there's also more. I think there's gonna be more hearts gathered after boss fights and stuff, so it'd be interesting to see. Up at that point, I thought for me it was already on pace to best Breath of the Wild for me, and I agree with Retro. I feel like it has a lot more Zelda elements than Breath of the Wild. Especially I did the Wind Temple, that whole thing. It just felt way more Zelda like for better or worse. It felt more like a Zelda game than Breath of the Wild in many ways. At the same time, it also still does completely new things, like creating some dude made like a freaking mech, like it's ridiculous what people have made. So in that aspect, it feels nothing like Zelda. So, but I love the game. I started the desert on like Saturday, and I've been playing that the last 2 main sessions and then a little bit today, and I'm not feeling the desert area. I'm a little bit it's a slog for me. A, because you move so slow through the damn sand. B, the game's way harder. The Moldugas are like freaking harder than, I died like 10 or 12 times, between 10 and 12 times on this base level Molduga, right outside like Gerudo Town, and I'm like, why can't I beat this month? This thing is hard. Well, I don't have my remote bombs. I can't bait them in with the remote bombs,
Yeah.
and
I miss those bombs.
it's way more challenging. So,
Yeah, but I do like it that it's more challenging,
mm-hmm.
and your items matter more. You can't just you can't spam the bombs.
And I'm and I'm actually trying not to fast travel, but anytime a couple key weapons start flashing red, I fast travel. I already went to Elden Volcano area. I didn't do the temple there, but I fast travel there and I throw my weapons in the little octo. What are they called? The ones that suck they suck up anything you throw at them, and then they spit.
Likes.
No, the actual Octoroks. Yeah, the Octoroks.
Oh,
And
Octorok. Oh, yeah.
they suck up your weapon and they spit it out healed or repaired, and then it has an ability like +3 durability, +3 attack. So I take all my weapons that I don't want to lose. I quickly fast travel and I marked where they all are, and I lay my weapon down. It sucks it up and repairs it. That never happened once in Breath of the Wild. I didn't give two shits about my weapons because they're so plentiful. In this one, the main weapons are all weak and decaying, so you have to pair them with like good.
Did I miss something in the story on why every weapon's decayed?
They said because of the gloom. It just
the gloom
just wears everything down. So
that's one of my least favorite things is that all the weapons have decay on them.
But I've found some really. I didn't look anything up. I found some really good combinations, and also feed them to the Octoroks, and they spit it out like with +5 durability.
I haven't met one Octorok.
Yeah, yet, so. They're only in the Elden region.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
Oh, 12 feet. Mr. Negativity's here. I'm not even gonna read. I'm not gonna. You might have some genuine complaints, but he's just always in here.
You can pet dogs.
Shitting on everything.
Look it up.
You gotta build. You can build something to pet dogs. You can like make a horse washing station.
Making all these prognostications and not knowing. But don't do that.
So everything I did leading to going to the Gerudo Desert, I had this game just ahead of Breath of the Wild. I love the exploration. I love the depths. That just is so cool. I'm really enjoying Hyrule being changed. I was not expecting that, and I'm just
the caves. Caves are my favorite things.
The caves are cool. The wells. There's just so much cool stuff, and this cutscenes and story are just so. Step beyond is not even the right phrase. They're so far beyond what Breath of the Wild was doing. I'm so engaged.
For sure.
At one hand, I've done 5 of the tier memories. I don't know if you've done any of those from the glyphs.
2.
I want to do more, but I don't want to blow through it either. But it does.
Right. That's why I'm basically saving those for last.
They do give you the option to rewatch them, which is cool.
Yeah.
So I love that. I have theories about all the Zelda sightings. I like the they grew the characters aged, not just Pura and Riju either. Like they made the characters that time has passed. They changed the way they look, and Impa out in the wild. She's out investigating stuff. You run into her a few times. It's just cool. I'm just like. I love it. But that being said, the damn Gerudo Desert it's just not as fun of an area for me. I'm struggling, and
it sucked pretty much in Breath of the Wild too until you got set up. Like at least it did for me. I don't know how you approach it.
And the game kind of for me, I feel forced to do the temple because the areas. I don't know if you've gone to any of the main 4 areas like Rito Village.
Yeah, I'm in Rito.
Rito is like
the Wind Temple, and what a epic fucking climb
I know, I love the
that
climb.
was. Holy crap, that was epic. But yeah, go ahead.
I hate that the areas are basically you can't explore. You can, but there's many quests open up after you beat the boss, and the area just becomes way more manageable. Like you can't go through the Gerudo Desert; it actually blocks you until you you beat the boss and solve the issue. You know the weather issue there. Like so, it didn't that didn't happen in Death
Is there
Mountain
a
though.
weather issue and everything?
No, Death Mountain. Actually, I'm really intrigued. I just got there. I talked to Yunobo or whatever.
Yeah.
He was following me around, and I'm like, I don't want to do this area yet. But
Yeah.
that one,
I grazed by it and it kept
there's
moving.
no like, there's no smoke in the air. Nothing you got to worry about. It's actually, I'm really excited about doing
Well,
that
the
one.
volcano has like, what is that shit called?
The Gloom,
Gloom. Yeah.
or I don't know why it's not called Malice anymore. Whatever, is it
Well,
Gloom?
it's different.
Um, it looks
It's not
different,
it's
but
not really malice, but yeah.
either way, I'm really enjoying the game, and like 5 6 hours is easily passed when I turn it on. So I actually had
Oh
to
man,
tell myself not to turn it on yesterday. I'd watch a movie and do some other
that
stuff.
hours just fucking fall off when you play that
I
game.
had Monday
I'm just gonna do
Tuesday
this. I'm just gonna do one more thing.
yeah,
Yeah, right. That shit does not
Monday
happen
Tuesday
ever.
Wednesday off. Wednesday I'm like, oh, it's 11. I'll play next. Oh, it's 2:30 already. Damn. Fuck. Why is my cat sitting here? Oh, it's 5:45. Damn. It's time for her to eat. I'm like, god
Uh,
damn. It's crazy. But that was all positive.
I played from 6 o'clock, 7 p.m. to fucking 4 in the morning. I was like, what
Damn.
am I doing with my life?
It goes by quick, but
It goes by so fast, bro.
that's the beauty of it. The negative is when I'm in the desert and I waste 45 minutes trying to find one damn thing for this minor side quest in the area. It's like the town. There's only so many areas I just can't find it, and I'm like, why? I just spent 45 minutes looking for this one thing. It's probably some ridiculous thing I'm missing. Like either it's not in the area I think it is, and they in the or whatever, and I just wasted 45 minutes. Then I'm like fighting that Madulga, whatever, why I can't pronounce it, over an hour. I'm like, why don't I just go the other way? So why don't I just couldn't let it beat me? And I finally defeated it. I was like, oh, thank God. Um, but I was just like, man, I've wasted 2 hours, I've done nothing. Like I've done
Is it
no.
after 10 days where the Switch tells you your fucking
Yeah, it's
hours?
the day after the 10th.
Yeah.
So
I can't believe that's still a thing. I can't believe. Come on, Nintendo. Come on.
and just give me the accurate. Don't say
Yeah,
5 hour
or
increments.
more.
Just give me the full. So
It's
anyway,
so
that's
stupid. It's not going to happen at this point, so might as well quit
I'm
complaining
at
about it.
66 shrines. I'm at 86 Koroks. Still 5 of the geoglyphs. I think still maybe 9 towers now. 19 of the light roots down in the depths, and yeah, like I said in my juice opinions, I mean I went 3 days, probably 15 hours without even going into the sky once. I've
Hmm.
probably been in the sky since the Great Sky Island. I would guess 5 to 8% of my playtime. It's such
Yeah.
a minor aspect of the game, and I'm not mad. It's just weird that they promoted it that way, and it's such a minor part of the
Yeah.
game.
Were you getting? I'm sure you were. I'm sure that was the whole point. Getting Skyward Sword. Uh, what do you call it? Feels when
Vibes.
you vibes. Thank you. When you did the Rito, the Wind
Mm-hmm.
Temple, that whole
Yeah.
thing.
Oh yeah, for
'Cause,
sure.
yeah,
I
I
half
mean,
expected a
it's
tentacle.
clearly an homage to that. So
I half expected a tentacle monster
right,
with stupid one
I
eye.
did. Yeah,
Um, yeah, I get more
but
like major Zelda vibes for that whole section. That whole
yeah,
and that to me,
that climb, boy. I had to. I don't know about you, but I was saving every jump. Every
mm,
time I jumped to save.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't do
because
that, but yeah, I
I kept like missing. And once I realized, oh, jump behind you, to the ship behind you.
mm-hmm.
That's what you should be doing instead of trying to. And you can't catch the ship. You can forget about that. If you miss that jump and you miss the ship that's going
Early on, I
by.
kept pressing the wrong buttons. I would
Oh
draw
man.
my bow, and then I'm like try to cancel, and then I'd hit my weapon. And one time before I knew you hit the R button to skydive,
Yeah. I kept hitting
I
the
hit
wrong
the
button.
and I'm like doing my downward strike for like
Yeah.
500 feet. And I'm like,
Yeah,
God,
I'm still constantly hitting the wrong button for
do you
things.
hit up to try to switch your runes? Yeah,
Yeah.
I still do it.
I also keep hitting R, what I guess R1 instead of uh L1 for the abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So I end up like tossing my my weapon that's in my hand.
Yeah,
I do it so much, it's ridiculous.
I can.
And I saw reviews of people saying that that happens, and it took them a while to not do that.
One thing
So hopefully it goes away.
I don't like is to throw an item. You have to first gear up to throw your weapon, and then you hit the up on the D-pad, and then it
Yeah.
switches. And then my biggest complaint about the game is having to scroll through. I have like hundreds of
Oh
items
my
now.
god.
I just
That
want to
that
find
yeah.
the electric shock choo choo jelly to throw or
I
whatever.
think I heard that there are ways to get to items that you
You can
use
cycle through your most used, but if I have,
most use.
I don't use, like I wanted to shock something or I wanted to get a
Yeah.
something. I forget exactly what I want to do, and I'm like, there's only way to do it by type, and I had to scroll through for like 30 seconds. I'm like, there freaking is like that. To me, there's got to be some better way. Give
Yeah.
me,
There is a better way. You want to show what the better way is? That's the better
yeah,
way. This is
or
a
just
gamepad game.
let me hit the start menu, go to the item, and click to throw option instead of hold to like drop. That way I can
Yeah.
just pause the game. I'm in the menu, I find the item, hit a button, say to throw, set to
I, I
throw.
just I I just kept thinking how much easier this shit would have been had my gamepad with all my weapons and
Yeah,
stuff sitting right there. How much easier it would have been.
because
Uh, uh,
I understand like it's cool that there's so many different things you can throw and attach to your arrows, but let me craft 100 of the bright bulb arrows that for the depths. So I have 200 arrows. I have 300 of the bright bulbs. Let me craft 50 of the arrows with the freaking lights on 'em. Just let me do that ahead of time and keep it equipped the whole time I'm in the depths, because it's just ZR up. Like if you have it on the most used, you only have to hit up.
yeah.
Just
That
tap.
that is a miss. I think that is a miss. Now playing the game, I didn't think it would be a problem, but now that is a miss where it's like, okay, I'm in a certain area, I'm going to be using these things a lot. I don't want to have to sit there and hold you basically holding every button on the controller to get
Yeah.
to get it to switch to those arrows and whatnot. And it's just like, I don't want to do that. I don't. If they had a way you can craft a bunch of arrows and have your little
Yeah,
craft
have it
arrow
equipped
menu,
like you could
right?
before. That would be, to me, that's something I would even hope they could patch in later.
Yeah,
I have 20 bomb flowers. Let me just make 5 bomb arrows to quickly access. And if I want to shoot 3 in a row, I don't have to like hold up,
yeah.
do all that. So to me, that's kind of
But
that's a
I can't
cumbersome.
complain. Like I want to complain about the controls, as far as like being able to switch to things and get things like you were talking about. I can't complain about it because it's using everything on the pig.
Mm-hmm.
Like this game is using every button, and I can't. I love it for that. I love that it's doing that, but practically when you're going back and you're switching all this stuff, I think the biggest thing that messes me up is the ultra hand. And when you're turning things, and you have to
Mm-hmm.
hold the
And it's
R button for that. And so in my mind, I'm like, oh, R button is ultra hand, and that's why I end up throwing shit. I end up throwing the weapons all the time because that's the weapon, that's the
mm-hmm.
button to throw things. And it's like, oh
Or
fuck,
I'll still
I
hold
gotta,
R, and I'll
yeah,
try to like I want to push the item out, and I'm still
yeah,
holding R, so it's just spinning. I'm like fuck, and I'm
right.
like
You
now that
realize you got to use the arrow or the D pad to push things forward and
and the
back. It'll
D
take me a
pads
while to figure that out.
and it's
And then
inverted too. The up and
right,
the twisting's all inverted, so I'm trying to
yeah.
train
But
myself.
again, I'm not gonna hate on it because
They're
you do so much shit, and the fact that they utilize it as well as they do is pretty good. I'm
yeah.
happy with that.
Now I could, I don't know if you remember my Adam Sessler complaint about 3D World back in the day, where he's like, I gotta press like 3 buttons to do the
Right.
butt stomping ball. I gotta press this. You could actually say that about. Like you have
Yeah,
to like
you could.
hold like
Yeah, you
four
could say that
buttons
about.
and try to
Yeah,
cycle, and
but
then like
how could you do it in a better
you
way?
can't.
Name a better way. You can't. There's no. They
Well,
did the best that they could
the
with all
better
these.
way for the arrows would be let me craft
Yeah,
something
better.
ahead of
Yeah,
time.
that's better. There's a better way for that. But I meant as far as like the controls and
Mm-hmm.
like going through all the
So I
different
give them
movements.
props. I mean, there's really you'd have to have a controller with more buttons to do anything different. So, but yeah, uh, you said you think about 12 hours.
I think that's wrong because of last night.
Yeah,
I think that I'm probably closer to like 16 or 17
I'm
at this point.
thinking for me, I had multiple 5 hour sessions, so I'm probably 35 to 40. I think maybe 45, and I'm not like I'm not being. Well, here's my strategy. I'll tell you what my plan is and why I have 66 shrines already. I'm sick of getting killed. So my goal was what's the fun of exploring when I can't take on I don't have any weapons. I had like 4 bow slots and stuff. I'm like I need Korok seeds, I need shrines. I need hearts because it's just too easy to die. So I'm like I want to explore more. I want to do all these side quests, but if I see a shrine and I'm going to it and I'm going to do it
Yeah.
because I need heart. So I think 15 now, and I did my stamina 4 times, and I still that Melduga 2 hits, I'm dead if I don't heal.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
there's a other enemies that hit you once, and I'm down to a quarter heart from full health. So, what do you say, goddamn tea about? Oh,
No, because I made the joke about the cats.
yeah, I
That's
love
why.
cats. There's no cats in Tears of the Kingdom though that I've seen. Should
No.
be.
Are they in Breath of the Wild?
I don't think so.
I don't think there's cats.
No.
Nintendo don't like cats, I guess.
Mario's for the cats.
Yeah, I guess.
So I'm just like I need more hearts. Yeah, I'm passing up stuff. There's quests I want to do. I still get distracted, but shrines are my priority, which I'm finally to the point where I'm like, all right, now I'm gonna do a little more extra stuff, more exploration, do the caves. I mean, I'm still doing that. If I encounter a cave, I go in until I get the little, what do they call this? The glowing creature in there that gives you like a.
Oh yeah, the little
And
frog.
I have a bunch of those things. I haven't gone back to the dude to turn them in because the clothing you get, which looked cool, is kind of lame because you turn them in for him and he gives you an outfit. But where was I going? Oh yeah, just my goal was to get hearts. Yeah, I didn't want to do the second temple. I want to see uh, Gerudo Town. I wanted to go there next because that was the last place I went in Breath of the Wild, so I wanted to go there sooner. And I want to, Riju. I like her. I like her age up design. I'm not gonna lie. And then I'm like, well, I can't do an exploration. I got to do the temple because this is ridiculous. Basically, the area is pointless. You can't do anything. Yeah, I found a couple shrines, but it's really challenging, and so I might as well do the temple. Um,
I got a question. Um, do you have to have certain abilities to do certain temples?
no, no.
No.
You just everything
So
you
I
need
just
is the first 4 you got on the.
okay. So I'm for some reason I hit a brick wall in the wind temple.
It's probably this. Is there a door where there's some spinning gears and you didn't know what to do? That's where I got stuck.
No, I was in there. But there's a door where there's like a turbine thing or something, and I was lost. I know
Yeah,
that you got to do something with
you
that, but
just
I guess
you gotta
all right.
remember the ascend. I know I struggled in the beginning. I forgot about the ascend ability, and I think there's one where you have to go below and ascend up into the room. I think that's
Okay, okay.
what's
Because
up.
I was that's what I was wondering because I figured Nintendo wouldn't really do that. Obviously, you got to get those 4
Yeah, you don't
abilities
need
before you leave
so.
the tutorial area, which is
Mm-hmm.
the. But
Uh,
I wouldn't think
I was
they would.
waiting until some more people got here, but and Retro's in the chat. And what's up to Jay Biggs? Just joined the chat. How do you feel about and how have you played? Handheld only, or you played on your monitor? How have you played the game?
Oh me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, who else would you be asking? The chat. I guess you're asking. You could ask
Or
the
the
chat.
chat, whatever.
Um, Yeah, I've played both. I actually started playing the game handheld because I got it the midnight release. I was at work, so um, and it was like you said, it's freaking gorgeous on the especially OLED. So I would probably say percentage wise at this point, it's probably 30-70 handheld or 70-30
Mm-hmm.
handheld. Um, Wait, does that make sense?
Yeah.
70% on the TV
Oh,
and
70 on the
30%.
TV? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably 30% on the handheld, but I started on my TV upstairs, my 65-inch OLED. Um and then so that was Friday night. Saturday I played, then I don't know if it was Friday night I turned it off on the TV and played in handheld, or if it was Saturday I played. But either way, I ended up playing till like 1:30 in the morning in handheld. I was like,
Yeah.
man, this looks good. And then the next on Saturday morning, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna hook the Switch up in my theater room. I got this new 4K projector. It looks amazing with movies. Let me see. And so basically a 92 inch. Um, and
Yeah, I
I was
mean,
surprised.
if you ain't got these babies, like I don't know why you would even
Well,
attempt
I
to
use a I
play
use a
on handheld that
pillow
much.
to hold them, and I can
Yeah.
play pretty decently. But anyway, now I was like, man, it looks pretty decent on here. Usually, I wasn't expecting it to look as good. Went back to the handheld. Then Sunday and Monday, or Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, I played all on my TV in my living room, and so I feel like I got a pretty good feel of on different monitors, displays. I'm in the camp of it's definitely like a little bit sharper, the image on screen compared to
Mhm.
Breath of the Wild. I noticed I had to take some screenshots from both games to really see it and zoom in on my phone, because I when I'm on Hyrule, like on the ground with the grass and, and whether it's a storm or not, or in the desert with the blinding, I don't see much of a graphical improvement. Now Digital Foundry broke it down and talked about if you're standing still, like if you don't move the camera, the FSR one, I think, and they didn't use two. It's actually pretty sharp. It's a really good, really clean image, way cleaner than Breath of the Wild. But as soon as you move or turn the camera, all that goes out the window. It's like 720p instantly as soon as you turn the camera, and it's just the FSR can't compete with the moving. Plus, it has a dynamic resolution. So there's times where I'm like, this is 0% better than Breath of the Wild from a technical graphic standpoint. I'm talking texture or shadow detail, wandering through especially I think the main area in the sky, the Great Sky Island with the oranges and the whites. To me,
Mm.
that wasn't very pleasing. Um, so I don't think it's much of a difference over Breath of the Wild, but once I saw a comparison, yeah, in the distant shots, if you're standing on the plateau looking out, the stuff in the distance is cleaner. It's not as blurry. So it is an improvement. I don't know what you think in your experience. I think it's
Yeah, I
five.
think there's a visual improvement for sure. Um, my disappointment with the Sky Islands is that it wasn't what I thought they were going to be,
Yeah.
which is the Golden Land, sadly. But maybe it is. Maybe in the end they'll explain it more. I don't know. But yeah, it visually, it definitely looks better, for sure. I mean, that's one of the easiest things I noticed, especially playing in handheld because I played in handheld for Breath of the Wild as well. But then again, it's not really fair because I
Mm-hmm.
played on the original screen for the Switch. So, but no, when I'm playing it on screen on my TV screen, I can tell it's visually sharper, like you said. It looks better to me.
Yeah, but it definitely looks better. I don't think it's like
It's nothing
significant
mind
though.
blowing though. No, no.
I think maybe 10% at most when
Yeah,
but
probably something
but
like
when
that.
it's storming and
Somebody
stuff.
said, I can't remember who it was, but somebody said, "Oh, you can tell that this was built on the Switch and not the Wii U."
Yeah,
I'm like, get the
no.
fuck out of here, get out of here, because there's things on the Wii U, certain situations and areas on the Wii that on the well, on Breath of the Wild, the original one, where it's just looks probably just as good.
I think
Uh,
I was of the mind of, all right, I'm gonna take screenshots of both games, and I'm gonna Mr. Retro Death and ask him, tell me which one's which. Well, obviously you have the Sheikah slate, so you had to try to hide that. and then the shields and clothing are slightly different, but and then I'm playing Pro HUDs, which shows the hearts in Breath of the Wild, but not in Tears of the Kingdom. Well, the issue is even if you find an area that's like the same, all the stuff in the background, it's like it's really hard not to give it away which one's which. And Link's right hand in Tears of the Kingdom's in a glove.
Yeah.
But I thought I found it, so I took a couple screenshots in the Gerudo Desert. But like I said, with when you're not moving the camera, Breath of the Wild didn't have that upscaling FSR. So still shots, I would say, just clarity wise, it's about a 15-20% increase in still shots. But when you're moving and stuff, I don't think it's that much ahead. But to say it's like you could tell it's the difference.
No.
I'd love to like actually take the time to find very like for like spots. Try to put the exact same outfit, hide the Sheikah slate, maybe just blur it out or something from both photos.
It's similar to where you could say, oh well, Splatoon, the original Splatoon, and Splatoon 2, or not Splatoon 3.
2 and 3, even 1 to 2 is kind of the same things. Like, is it better? But
it's a little better, but it's not where it's like, oh my god, you can tell these are different consoles. No, not really.
And Air's trying to do it no fast travel. The only time I fast travel was get out of the depths because I couldn't find any other way.
Is there another way out of the depths?
There's spots where you can use ascend, but it's only in select few spots.
Right.
And then I had to get back.
And the depths are as big as Hyrule.
Yeah, same.
Fucking crazy.
But Hyrule has been very smartly shrunken. I noticed that in the Great Plateau. Some areas feel the same, but other areas I'm like, oh, this snow area is like half the size it was. And yeah, some of it's supposed to have been upheaval, but just like the distance between in the Gerudo Temple, because I booted up Breath of the Wild and I was in the same oasis spot, and like Gerudo Town was so much further away in Breath of the Wild than it is in Tears of the Kingdom. So they've just slightly, I think, compressed everything closer together, which makes sense, I guess, but it does change some of the, like, Kakariko Village. I was like doing a tower and I'm like, thought I was like in central Hyrule, and I'm like,
I haven't been to any of the towns.
I'm like,
Tory Town's the only town I've been
I haven't
to.
gone there. I haven't gone to the east at all. So, but I did go to Kakariko. I'm like, I'm in middle central Hyrule. Why is that the entrance to Kakariko? I'm like, oh, well, it's a new entrance, but it's like so they've kind of just crunched everything into a smaller container.
I met somebody from the fishing village, and they said that they got devastated by pirates. So I haven't been there yet.
Yeah, I haven't gone south. I've barely, other than the Gerudo Temple.
What was it, Lanolin or something?
Lauren,
yeah,
something like
that.
But I haven't gone south of the plateau.
Lanolin.
Like south of the plateau or east of. I went to Kakariko, but I haven't gone east anywhere. No Akala region. I haven't gone.
I met this person. Where the hell were they? I think they had to be in, like, what's the area where you meet
Pura?
Pura.
That's like the land, something landing.
I think she was in there and she talked about it. So I hope that wasn't a spoiler for people. But then again, it could mean nothing. So I don't know.
It's Lookout Landing is the main area.
Lookout Landing, yeah.
But yeah, I was like, and I don't think it's a ton smaller, but like I said, I was in the desert and in the same exact location, and I was like, wow, like the desert's way bigger in Breath of the Wild. So that was probably not a bad decision, but it does. If somebody's played Breath of the Wild so much, it is a little disappointing when they've messed with. I was excited to go places, and I'm like, oh, this it's changed, not just because of the upheaval, but like Dueling Peaks. I didn't go to the stable there, but I went to the top of Dueling Peaks because I shot up in the tower and I landed on the Dueling Peaks. And it doesn't even, it just doesn't feel the same. It's like a completely different area. But anyway, I forget where.
That's not what I've heard from Xbox.
What?
I listened to an Xbox podcast or two,
Oh, they're
and
saying it's the
they're
same.
so salty, man. The salt mines are are filling up. It
Oh,
was just like,
Nintendo
oh,
gets
it's
special
ugly.
treatment
Yes,
for
that
a game that
special
looks like
treatment.
that
And
shouldn't be a 10.
I'm just screaming at my phone because I'm listening to it on my phone at work, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" There's so many games. I can give you one right now. A game called I don't know, Elden Ring, that got
Was
all these accolades, and it had issues similar
worse
to
performance
Breath of the
issues.
Wild, performance issue, all this stuff. So I'm like, you're just making things up, and it's just like, but they were complaining about basically the fact that um, they were saying the DLC thing. I'll just say that, which is a complete joke. But it again, it goes to the fact that they don't play these fucking games. They just say shit because they're salty and they
They
haven't had
would
consistent
kill
good
for a game
games.
like this.
Exactly, they would kill for this game. They don't, So what can you say about this game? Um, you could say, first of all, they were saying it's ugly.
Well,
Um,
David Jaffe's trying to get that to say
it
that
doesn't
too.
run great, which is a lie. That's just a flat out lie. Sure, there's areas where the frame rate drops here and there, but it's nothing that it will affect your gameplay
Yeah, it
at all.
doesn't because Nintendo, and I didn't know this was the reason back in the day why games with slowdown on the NES still controlled
Yeah,
fine because it's double buff VSync or whatever. So that makes it so your controls still are responsive, even if the
exactly.
game slows down. So it doesn't feel bad playing it.
Right.
Um, yeah, I seen a guy saying something like, "You guys, why can't you just be happy? It's not on the system you want, but why can't you just be happy? Why are you so mad or angry or uh, getting so
Even your
salty?"
overlords are giving praise.
And he's
Even your
like, the comments were, "It's just Nintendo gets a pass for games that look so this bad and run this bad and get 10s out of 10s. Any other game, if this was Xbox or a third party, they'd be giving it an 8 because of the."
Here's the problem. Here's the problem with that. The whole idea that a game is perfect and that's why it gets a 10.
Yeah,
That's not
that's
how it
stupid.
works. No game is fucking perfect. They get tens, games like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, they get tens because the fucking gameplay is so mind blowing that nobody else in the industry can even figure out how to begin to do this shit.
Yeah, they have
That's where the
multiple
tens come.
devs have said they have no idea how Nintendo pulled off the physics system,
The physics
the
system.
cloud system with the building mechanic. Like, how did they do it? Well,
How?
if the reports are true, they said
Again, on this little
Mhm.
2015 tablet. I mean, how did they do that? I
Apparently
mean, that.
the main game was finished in March 2022 last year. This
Mhm.
has just come out, and the rest they decided to spend however long it took to polish the game to make sure all these systems work. I'm sure that Ascend feature alone caused so many
Oh my
headaches,
gosh,
like
how?
probably getting stuck places.
Yeah, it's not. See, it. Here's the thing. It understands when you're going through something that's not that thick,
Mm-hmm.
or you're going through a long thing. Like you'll swim, in the void for longer if you're going through a ceiling that's thicker, or you're going through like say you're going through a mountain or something.
Yeah,
You'll swim longer. Or if you go through a little piece of rock or whatever, it doesn't last that long. It knows the difference.
and
That shit blows my mind.
I bet you somebody had to go to every area with a ceiling because you get the red if it's not it lets you.
Yeah,
There's a couple spots where just a little tiny spot in the middle will be green.
it flinches
I
and
guarantee you, somebody or a team of people had to do every pixel of every ceiling to make sure it worked.
yeah, or it just breaks. I'm sure it would totally screw the
Yeah,
game up.
we gotta put in a system. We got to figure out a way where it's gonna be broken. You're gonna hit a shrine or something. Where I came just before the podcast, I came up in the sand before the entrance to the shrine.
And that's what I'm talking about. Like Ayers, that's what I wanted to say is that it doesn't get credit for the fact that it's on this hardware, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
if it was on a Xbox One or something, and it looked like that, then yeah, you can complain. But bitch, it is on a fucking what 12-watt tablet,
Yeah,
like from 2014 technology, and is doing. Bitch, you can literally jump from the highest point in the sky all the way
into
down
the
to the depths
depths.
with no load, not one load, and that's. I mean,
And
that you should get credit for that. And that's why you get tens because
somebody
it's on a
built
different scale.
somebody built they must have went to all those areas where you have like the materials. You have four, what I call the 4x4s. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's only four there. Somebody went and they had, it looked like 20 to 30 in a cross. They put it over a chasm down to the depths. It was big enough to go over a chasm. In the middle was a small cross with a Korok with his backpack. And then they lit it on fire and he fell in. But they built, it must have took them hours to build all that. And so it actually balanced and it was like flexing over the freaking hole down to the depths.
Insane.
Just so he could make a video, shoot it with fire and it burn and the Korok fell.
How many hours did it take?
I mean,
but they did it. Well, that's the fun. That's why this game is so. That's why this game gets tens. It's not about it doesn't perform perfectly at all points. No, that's why games like this get tens. And as an X-bot, you wouldn't understand a 10 to begin with. So I understand where you're coming from.
And that art style would look amazing on the Series X.
It would be gorgeous.
Native 4K 60 FPS with enhanced features.
So to say the game is ugly, that's just bullshit.
Anti-aliasing, it's beautiful.
Yeah, you can say it has rough edges and whatnot.
For sure.
But to call it ugly, get the fuck.
I would say there's areas
salty.
in the desert where it's like, this is ugly. Because
and I'll call them out. It's the RDX podcast. I'll call them out because that is some bullshit.
And those guys are just even next gen. The few times I've listened to them the last couple of years, they just they can't. Oh, Nintendo does what they know their fans like. Nintendo fans, they know what they like. Nintendo.
We like gameplay.
Yeah.
Listen to these podcasts, and they do not fucking talk ever about gameplay. It's always about performance and why we can't get our 12K or
12 teraflops. Don't do nothing.
It's just so lame. Like, you're supposed to be gamers. You're supposed to be talking about the fucking games themselves. And you spend so much time talking about the technical aspects of it because your games are shallow. And that's why they don't get tens.
Imagine if Microsoft, if Fable comes out and it's got all this cool stuff to do and there's no bugs, there's no glitches, the game loads up, there's no issues. Imagine the praise these same guys would be given, whether it looked amazing or not, if just release a polished game. That in itself.
Give Breath of the Wild as is all the love in the world if it was on their box. If this was not a Nintendo game, this was Fable or some shit, they would think it was the best thing since ever. So it's so obvious. And again, they don't play the games. That's another thing. To me, that's mind blowing enough. I don't know how. I've made a video about it. I don't know how you can ignore that big of a pillar of gaming. Just completely ignore them. You go get the other samey box, sure there's some different things on it, but you go get, instead of getting the box that's way different, that's what you should be doing, getting the different box, not the box that's similar, that has similar games on it.
Here's my stance. If somebody has written off Nintendo, the Switch, and all Nintendo's games, to me, you're automatically not a gamer, like a real gamer.
I hate to say that, but that's how I feel inside.
Because you guys know me. I've been harsh on the Switch. I've been well, not necessarily lately, but for a while there, I was harsh on the game's output. I've always said I would love Nintendo to have access to more power. I would love to see Nintendo's art style with more power. But at the same time, when a home theater dude's talking about, well, I play Switch with my kids and stuff, but they don't care about hardware anymore. So I really don't game that much on them. I'm like, because the dude's got a 4090. He had a 3090, then he bought a 3090 Ti as soon as it came out. Then he bought a 4090 as soon as he's just got money to blow on PC gaming. I don't even know how much he actually plays PCs. I was in the comment section kind of calling these dudes. Another guy got it. Well, you can have great gameplay, but no reason you can't have games look good, better. I'm like, yeah, I agree. I wish it would be awesome if Nintendo had even a locked 1080p native resolution at 60 FPS. But guess what? I'd rather have Tears of the Kingdom at 720p than Cyberpunk at 4K HDR with full path tracing on. It's not even a close decision. It's not even a debate which one I'd choose. I said a great game is, you can't be mad about a great game. Yeah, it would be great if they also had the hardware to blow us away like back in the GameCube. You
Well, they
know,
had the hardware and bitches didn't buy it.
exactly.
You know, like they had that hardware, and you have all this, all this reverence and love for the GameCube, but you motherfuckers did not buy it. So Nintendo was like, "Oh shit!" They almost lost their ass because of the GameCube, and they had to really, make some decisions that saved them. That's why the Wii saved Nintendo's ass because they knew they could not play in that sandbox anymore. Because especially with Microsoft jumping in, they had to do what they had to do, and it's worked out really well for them. Other than the Wii U,
Trust me,
which is
I'd love, like, I'm looking at the screenshots I took in docked in handheld right now, and I was like, man, this looks sharp. This looks really
I,
good. Like,
it's not. Yeah, there's not a Nintendo fan on the planet who wouldn't want better graphics
and
for Nintendo games, and of
Lightning made
course
a
we
good
do.
point. These are the people that are complaining about this. They're salty, but they're also the same guys that want to pay to skip having to play the game to get characters. It's the casual type gamers.
Right? They're so casual because again, all they care about is the visuals. That's all they care about. The visuals and who's winning in the console race.
I
It's
don't
just so
care, but
lame.
I don't know about you, but that looks really good.
Looks pretty
Looks
good to
fucking
me.
good. Look at
Yeah.
that. Graphics look alright too. But the thing that John from Digital Foundry pointed out. Look at this. That's a shot right there. Oh, looks great, don't
Oh,
it?
give it time.
There you go. That's an
Lovely.
epic shot. Um, Digital Foundry pointed out this has. It's not ray tracing, but it has bounce lighting. This is like ray tracing. If something's orange on the ground, Link the horses, like if the grass is green, if you have a white horse, as soon as you start walking on grass, the bottom of the horse's legs have a slight greenish tint because it's reflecting off the grass. If you walk over rocks, it goes orange or brown. Like, it has advanced. If I don't know what technique it is, it's not ray tracing or anything. But it has some pretty advanced stuff. Yeah, the resolution is lower. Um, then it probably should. I mean, yeah, I'd love a 1080. That's a
Yeah.
great shot too.
And again, it's not just the bots; it's the
No,
ponies as well. They complain. They do the same thing. They're crying about. I think a recent player essence video. He talks about it. It's like there's so much salt
yeah,
from these guys because Breath of the Wild is getting so much love. And again, I just don't know how you ignore Nintendo. I don't know how you ignore this Nintendo, especially when you can sell 10 million copies of a game in 3 days. It's it's not just Nintendo getting a pass.
no,
These fucking games are amazing. They're good,
that
really
is
good games.
unheard of for a
Right?
Nintendo
Like
non-Pokemon.
you can't just you can't just. They do. They just dismiss this stuff like that's just Nintendo.
Yeah, because that's
No,
that's kind of where we're heading with that. The people who dismiss Nintendo, you don't care about gaming. Like,
no, you don't. You
I
can't.
was I was
I don't see how
calling
you do.
out that one of my favorite streamers. I don't really watch people because I don't want to watch somebody play a game that's out right now that I'm playing. I don't
Right.
mind watching a game. They're playing something that's older that I've already
I'm
played.
the
But
same. Yeah.
I told you she was racing through Breath of the Wild. I barely heard her even chuckle or seem any like enthusiasm in her voice. I jumped into a Tears of the Kingdom stream, and she sits down and plays for like 6 7 hours 3 4 times a week. So I was like, shit, she's too far in the game. She was freaking laughing. She was making fun of Link going hit when you fall and his when you die and it just sets you back up where you were.
Yeah.
You could tell she was enjoying the game.
Right.
And a couple days later, I tuned in. She was in a cinematic I hadn't seen, so I had to get right out. But it said loving this game, and I don't know if it's just caught up in the hype or whatever. But she's one of those that before this, she didn't play a game on Switch since Breath of the Wild back in 2017, and that one of her followers actually buy her the Switch and the game to get her to play it. She doesn't play Nintendo, and it's like, oh, you
I don't
play.
get it. I just don't get
How
that.
can you? She seems to love games. She plays all the Souls games. She's good at. She's a good gamer, and just completely. I see her play the most random, boring ass looking indie game, or like there's a
Yeah,
Alice
and
in
these are the
Wonderland game.
same dudes who are praising Hi-Fi Rush to the wazoo. Like, that linear, like I love Hi-Fi Rush. I'm gonna make fun of it because of these guys, but I love Hi-Fi Rush. I think it was one of the best games that came out this year. But that linear ass game, like, are you kidding me? Like, how can you have? I know what it is. It's just allegiance.
Yeah.
That's all it is. How can you have that much accolades for that game and no love for a beautiful fucking masterpiece that is Breath of the Wild? I have a disconnect, and I just don't understand.
Well, even David
Again,
Jaffrey's trying to call it out. I don't. This game should have been
I don't
deducted
trust David. You
points.
can't trust David
I know,
Jaffe. Like,
but he used to talk
like,
about to next gen to Zaire. He's like, dude, you got to play these games just because they have a cartoony art style or something. There's great games to be played, and
yeah,
he's trying to tell him to play games, and now he's like, oh, this should have got deducted points.
yeah.
This
Like,
game is
here's the
just
thing about, like, I'm not hating on David Jaffe. He has bipolar disorder,
mm-hmm.
and I know people with it, and they jump back and forth on things like this all the time. So I don't feel like it's not his fault, but
Yeah.
that's why I say I don't trust what he's saying, because he has a condition that I know, how people act with that condition. So I don't put too much stock in his fluctuations. I'll just say.
Yeah, and Jim Quisition, I guess, must have shitted on it because Mohammed joked that that's why the Metacritic dropped.
Is that really why? Because
Well, I
that's
don't
why I
think
dropped
one
Breath
review
of the
could have.
Wild.
It had to be at a tipping point. Maybe he did push it over, but it's funny because Nintendo. You say they say, oh, Nintendo gets a pass with reviewers, but when Sony put out Horizon Forbidden West, there was still Xbox guys who had to be like, damn, that game looks good. They were still like
Right.
enamored by the visuals.
Right, it was the visuals.
So I seen a dude, whether it was real or
Now they
not.
shit on it though. Now they should. Oh, Aloy is so boring.
They shit on it, but at the beginning, but when
talks
it
too
came
much.
out, there was envy, and
Oh, yeah.
I seen it. I mean, the game's gorgeous. The PS5 version on a 4K TV, it's the best looking game I've seen so far.
Mhm.
It's amazing, and it runs at 60. I don't know. I still don't know how they did that when like a Plague Tale doesn't even look as good. I guess they did a 60 FPS patch, but
That bitch is 120 now.
is it?
Yeah, so you can sit down.
I have to check it out and see what visual sacrifices. But anyway, with Nintendo, there is no respect given. It's just maybe some people say, damn, 10 million sold, damn, 96 on Metacritic. I might have to play that. I know Sandstorm's buddy Vito, which I'm not a fan of trying to talk people into playing a game that are like have the wrong mindset, because they're not going to enjoy it if they go in with the mindset. But he talked his buddy into picking it up, and I'm like, you didn't play Breath of the Wild. I don't care about your Tears of the Kingdom experience.
And here's the thing. Getting back to the bots, one of them literally said, "Oh, I bought this special edition, blah blah blah. So you can't hate on me for making giving these opinions about the game." I'm like, you motherfuckers will go out and buy something just so you can criticize.
Yeah.
Just so you can feel justified in your criticism.
I bought the special edition of fucking
right,
whatever.
okay,
so I could say
you were stupid enough to buy the special edition. That's on you. That don't mean you're more credible than anybody. That's insane, man.
So let's Sandstorm. How many hours do you think you have on Tears of the Kingdom?
How many did you say you had? You had
like
20,
35 to 45, somewhere in there.
Okay. Okay. So I would probably say somewhere between 17 and 24, somewhere around there.
Have you done a temple?
You're right on where I am.
Absolutely not. I'm on a hunt. I'm on a mission right now. I am going to figure out. I'm gonna figure out what this hidden secret move is from the Yiga clan. I'm on a mission.
Oh, okay.
I've encountered the Yiga clan in one area, and then I saw they have a map showing the other areas they're in. That was pretty fun. So I want to talk. Let's get some actual negatives. We talked about the arrow selecting. I think that's.
Are they hostile still?
Yeah.
Yes.
And but they're funny. It's funnier to me. It's a more engaging thing.
Yeah.
I have 86 Korok Seeds Retro. I have currently like 17 of the Bulbs, but I've already turned in a bunch, so I don't know. It doesn't keep track.
86 Korok. Jesus Christ. I may have 20.
Yeah.
1BS6 from some random site. Yeah, I don't even. That's such an obvious clickbait. They gave it a full point down. It's lowered the Metacritic.
Yeah,
Really?
you're talking about when we saw that one brought it down to 90,
Like
96.
I'm not even joking. I think an 8 is borderline clickbait with this game. I think if you give this game an 8, I feel like you either just I don't know. Robert and I talked
Well,
about this yesterday.
if you gave Pokemon Scarlet and Violet a 8, and you gave this game 2 points less than that, you're full of shit.
Yeah.
So ironically, I heard you saying a little something about it, Juice. But I've been playing it like this might be the third time I've streamed it or whatever. I've said nothing to Vito after like I bought the game. I was just like, "Yo, this game is absolutely amazing." And it wasn't until he sent me a video that's when that's when I messaged you. I was like, "Yo, are you playing this game?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I caved in and I picked it up." Yeah, he's like, I can't stop playing it." And I'm like, what did it for you? That's what I
well,
was
it's
like,
because
what
of
did
his
it for you?
reasons for not wanting to play it were all based on incorrect and assumptions and just assuming he wouldn't be interested in it, and I've done that. I didn't play Bloodborne for the longest time because I just thought I wasn't gonna like it based on wrong information.
Same. I didn't play it for a long time, and then I played it and I still don't like it. So.
But anyway, I want to talk about, to me, this is gonna be a talking point moving like many podcasts to come, especially with Retro Death. Anybody who is gonna try to say that the temples are just we're back to the Zelda roots. This is so much better than a Divine Beast. You're freaking lying. You're just lying. The Wind Temple was cool. Getting to it was epic, but
actually, I think the Wind Temple felt so Breath of the Wild
it feels
to me.
more Divine Beast.
It felt like a Divine Beast,
but a lesser. For me, this is my take. Now I said it overall. I told Robert in the chat, which he brought up to show me what I had said. I said it's as cool as the best Divine Beast, but maybe slightly less. I said it's cool. I didn't say it was as fun or as engaging or the game, the puzzles were as fun. Just the cool factor for me of the Wind Temple was amazing. Like, that was as cool as taking out Naboris on the Sand Seal, staying within Riju, or was it Riju or Bosa? Yeah, it was Riju, staying within her little windows and then getting to it or getting to the Zora domain. Like, that stuff was cool. But when it comes to the actual temple and the 5 things you have to shoot wind at, that's very basic design. There's, I got stuck in one spot.
That's not traditional Zelda dungeon design.
Yeah.
And it's not.
That sounds like before you get to the dungeon.
And there's no manipulating. Right. Like, I loved manipulating the Divine Beast, like the trunk for the water or tilting the bird. Like, there was none of that. It was just, it's very straightforward once you get actually onto the temple and have to do the thing. But I was like, well, that maybe this one looks really cool. Getting to it was cool. The boss fight was fun.
Yeah. I want puzzle rooms with keys and a boss fight at the end, a boss key. I think that's what I was hoping for, or at least close to that. At least close to that.
I'm not talking about necessarily what I want. I'm just saying, if somebody's out here touting these temples are some great thing over the Divine Beasts, especially Retro Death, I know because he just says they're crap. I think the Divine Beasts the puzzles were more thought out. It was more fun to manipulate the Divine Beast. Yeah, aesthetically they all look the same, but I thought the Blight Ganons,
I think they were bad. I just my thing was, I mean, and here's the thing about Divine Beast, they actually tie into the story pretty well as far as like what's going on in the world.
And if you look out, if you go outside or you can see an opening, you're right there, and then it's really cool to see you're crawling around Death Mountain or you're flying above Hyrule. Like to me that stuff was cool, but just like manipulating them and the puzzles involved, to me, and even the boss fights, honestly, like Thunderblight Ganon is way better than than the two boss fights I've done in Tears of the Kingdom for me
Yeah,
personally.
they were tough.
But the other Tears of the Kingdom boss fights feel straight out of Zelda, straight out of Ocarina of Time, Skyward Sword. They're very Zelda like. I I don't. You guys obviously haven't played the Desert Temple. I give that boss fight like a 6 out of 10. That
With
was
that,
trash. You know, like
does
not
that
trash, but I did not enjoy it.
does that
Rejuice.
confirm that you're like kind of over the whole old formula?
No, it's
No,
just not a
it
good
doesn't
boss
feel like the
fight.
old
It
formula. Is what
doesn't
he's
feel
saying.
like the old formula. It
Mm.
feels like a slightly almost a stripped down version of the Divine Beast because in the desert you just have to unlock you just have to go to 4 spots and use Reju's lightning ability. And
Hmm.
two of them are connected to the same puzzle and they both open up at the same time and it's like so then the other one was just simply pull a rock out of the wall and your instant access and then the third one was had a little bit of puzzle element. It's just very
Yeah.
straightforward. I was
Hmm.
after the Wind Temple I was hoping it would be at least that or maybe get better.
Okay,
And
so are because I've been to the Wind Temple. Is the only one I've been to. Are they out in the open? All the temples, the way the Wind Temple is, or Divine Beasts were?
this,
Because that's the problem with dungeons in this version of Zelda, is that you can't give it that same similar kind of puzzly challenge thing if it's so open the way the
no,
game is.
this
It has to you have to be able to. All right, I'm going through this front door, and then when I go through that door, just like a shrine, I'm transported into a dungeon. That's
the
how the dungeons have to
the
work.
sand
If they
one is you go through the door and you're in an enclosed space.
okay,
But because of your ascend ability, I actually almost broke and got locked because Riju doesn't follow me because she can't teleport through
she
the
can't.
ground.
Right.
So I had to just keep going up until I was able to find a center area where I could drop back down, and there she was. And actually, the door, I never found the way to unlock the door. I just went up, over, dropped down, and then she just teleported through the door. So I never figured out how to open the damn door. But it's a very simple layout, and it didn't require much
Right. So
thought.
that's the problem because they want to make it be open because you have all these freaking abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So what they should do, just like they do for certain shrines, you go in,
Take the
that shit's
abilities.
gone, bro. Like it's gone. You can't use it in here. And you can come
Or
up
you
with a
could just
reason
make
for
all
it.
the surfaces on so you can't ascend through them.
Yeah. Or you just get rid of those abilities and make a traditional dungeon. I
All
mean, you
you
can
do
do
is
that.
just walk. You walk through a door. Almost looks like a like a security thing. You
Yeah.
walk through it. It just strips the power from
Yeah,
you.
well, I'm saying shrines do that
Hmm.
already. Like certain shrines that will take your shit away, or like that island in Breath of the Wild,
Hmm.
where you
Oh
it's
yeah.
stripped down,
And my
and that's
brand
fine because you can set up everything that's in that dungeon for that dungeon only. And that way you can lock it off and get that traditional, and
see
that's that
I want to read
traditional
this
Zelda feel.
comment because I didn't want someone to think I'm just being extreme. Brand Smith said the desert boss is garbage, not fun at all. It was not fun. It's not a fun boss fight. You're in the sand, so you only can move slow, or you're slowed down by the sand. Riju's, you know, for those that have done if maybe hadn't done this one, her ability is frustrating because she's actively running around. You have to chase her down to hit A, so then you can get her in her mode to use the
To
ability.
use the ability.
Just
Yeah,
let me hit some. It's so
like
frustrating.
Tulin, is his name Tulin?
Tulin.
His
His
worked
worked
way
better.
better.
His
Yeah,
worked
his
really
worked.
good.
Yeah.
Even though now his can't shoot shit. He doesn't. He has trouble hitting things, but
He was really because he was striking bitches right
sometimes
between
he
the
does.
eyes.
Sometimes he does. Other times, but
It was like it was a situation where I didn't want him to because he would knock bitches over the ledge. I'm like, I want that shit they drop. You fucking you
but
messed up my looting there.
so if like I said, if somebody tries to say that these temples are some vast improvement over Divine Beast, you're lying. Aesthetically, they are. Aesthetically, they look cool. You saw the trailer. You saw the thing rising out of the desert.
Mhm.
There's no surprise what that was. But as far as the execution, I was hoping after the Wind Temple that they'd be as good or better. This one was a downgrade for me. Downgrade over even my least favorite which is the one in the Death Mountain. That's my least favorite Divine
Yeah, I was
Beast.
gonna say that one was. Yeah.
This was so like it just wasn't that fun for me. And the boss fight
Yeah.
wasn't great. It was and somebody said earlier about the controls. I don't mind that they stuck to the same formula. I'm gotten pretty good with flurry rush dodging and all that.
I just completely stopped. I didn't even use it for like the first 6 hours. I was like, oh yeah, I can flurry rush and do all kinds of shit and dodge.
I finally killed the Lionel, but I use my shield parry a lot for that one. But
yeah,
just
using
far
shield
as
parry way more already than I did in Breath of the Wild.
as far as like negatives, I would say I think the Divine Beasts so far overall are better than the two temples I've done. The boss fights are good, but they're not. I wouldn't say I love them, either of them. The first one was better. The Wind Temple one was really fun though. But so slight negative, I guess, is that I thought they went backwards.
Is the Wind Temple the first temple because that kind of where the story sends you first? Is that right?
Actually, it doesn't really. It just tells you the 4 areas. I just went there first because I think it's the closest, and I was like,
oh, I thought somebody said something about Rito Village when I was.
It might technically be the one they thought would be first.
Yeah. And I didn't know how to.
So
I was even gonna turn on Breath of the Wild because my map wasn't filled out. I'm like, where's the Rito area? I can't remember. I just kind of remembered. I was like, oh yeah, it's in the cold, snowy area, so it must be that top left.
So Retro's saying that they fixed everything about that the Divine Beasts. I'm not talking about. Forget how they freaking look, dude. What you actually do. There's no. You might think it's more fun, but it's objectively less involved. There's less puzzle elements to it. The 2 temples I've done, and you lose. Yeah, getting there was awesome, but getting there in the Sand Temple was not awesome. Was not that same awesome experience as the Wind Temple. So, it was more of a struggle. I feel it was, and it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be fighting the elements, and it's supposed to be hard. It wasn't awe-inspiring like getting to the Wind Temple was. So, not like, oh my god, this game sucks, but I still think anybody who tries to say that these temples are some improvement and fix what the Divine Beast, unless
you've only done
unless all you care,
left, right?
I don't know how many there are, but
I think 7.
Unless all you care about is how they look and the fact that they have a divine or a boss fight that's not a Blight Ganon, because all the Blight Ganons were completely unique in how you fought them. They just all looked the
similar.
same.
Yeah.
If all you care about is aesthetics being different, then yeah. That gas literally has been my biggest. What is that gas? That means nothing.
I think he must have typo or something.
It must be. It's just all about how it looks, because Thunderblight Ganon was completely different strategy to I forget the water. Was it Water Blight?
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Like, yeah, it's a traditional Zelda boss, but like me and Bran, who've both said, it's the Sand one is not a great boss fight. It's just not.
And I didn't realize. Well, maybe that's a spoiler. I'll keep that to myself.
But and to get back to what T was saying, I don't really want traditional dungeons in this Breath of the Wild style. I just wanted. And maybe because there's more of them and this game is so huge, maybe once I get to the end, I'll think it's stupid that I'm saying this. But I just wanted more clever. If you're going to have a temple, I just wanted it to be more clever and more creative, and not just, finding your way, oh, that's a locked door. Or then I go outside, I shoot, this weak wall, and I come in, and now I can do the thing with the wind,
That's the one thing I think that shouldn't be open in this open world is dungeons. I think there should be a progression as far as which ones you. I don't think, because it's like trials, and like in any fantasy movie, you do trials, right? The hero has to go through these trials, and they have to do it in a certain order.
I wouldn't be opposed to doing it in a certain order.
Yeah. So I think it would be fine, especially if they're locked off. They have to be locked off.
Yeah, you have to.
You can't get to them unless you do something else.
You have to. Maybe you can do the first 3 in any order to get.
Right.
And once you have the 3, then you pretty. Even Link to the Past, you could. I feel like you could.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know if you could do them complete. You couldn't do them completely.
The original Zelda you could.
You can do it in
You can do
Ocarina of
that.
Time.
But you have to have certain items to get to certain places. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the only difference. But you can do them in any order you wanted to.
like retro. I mean, yeah, retro. So you like the fact that this is just a different boss. It's not the same. It's not the same Blight Ganon, but with completely different, unique. It just has to look different. That's all. That's what I'm taking from that. But anyway, um, what were we saying? I got. What were you guys literally just talking about before I read that comment? And
Oh, we were talking about.
oh, you're talking about the traditional,
Dungeon,
taking your moves
traditional
away and
dungeons.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I could see them
And
doing it.
That would make sense again, story wise.
Yeah,
Because
and
these
then
are trials, so you have to go through without.
and that
your
way
weapons.
the story could be told congruently.
Yeah.
I love the memories I found, but I thought they were gonna, no matter which ones you did, it was gonna be in order.
Yeah.
And then so I did like 3, 4, and 5, and I was like, oh, these are in order.
Because there is a dungeon. We all know that these Zonai. I won't spoil it. These Zonai creatures, they're basically like robots, right? They're like ancient robots. That comes from Skyward Sword. But there's a dungeon where you get to, not dungeon, excuse me. There's a shrine, which is one of my favorite shrines of all shrines, including Breath of the Wild, where you go in this room and it's just a battle area, and you get these cool little tools that you can start up. And if you,
I haven't done that one.
Oh my god, it's so awesome. I don't want to spoil it, but your fuse ability really comes to contact. Like you start thinking about, oh shit, I didn't realize that I can fuse this thing to this thing, and it makes it more powerful, and it helps me in this battle area, battle arena. And it's like, holy shit, that is really cool. That kind of stuff, I hope I see more of, because that was one of my favorite shrines.
I got
in all of Zelda.
So we can just freeform this now and just talk about some of the crazy things we love, but it's kind of weird having like these dispensers dispense you these items.
Yeah, it's like those little
gotchas
things that you could turn.
But I have
like carnivals and shit.
Yeah,
I got
the gotcha things. Yeah.
In the latest one, I got some kind of homing vehicle, some kind of little homing thing that goes towards enemies, and then I have.
Oh, so you have seen? That's what I'm talking about.
But I haven't used it. I just got the item. I just got it in the ball. And then
I don't know if it. I'm guessing it wears out at some point. But
and then I have the spinning laser
cool.
thing, and I've seen on Twitter. I wish I hadn't. Somebody done some really creative stuff, made an army, and I mean,
you got that weapon, that Zonai device, but you haven't done the I guess the shrine that kind of sets up what that thing does. It's so cool, man.
So I guess I'll give one more quote unquote negative, and then you guys feel free to just go wherever. The Sky Islands. Raise your hand if you expected the Sky Islands to just be a few scattered islands in each region that basically was the same.
Yeah.
Right. I thought this was gonna be the main exploration, was the Sky Islands. I didn't watch any videos from like Zeltec or anything. I don't know what they thought.
I didn't watch any either. I started to, but I was like, I'm gonna do it.
I thought the Hyrule ground was gonna be you got to go down there every once in a while. It's gonna be the same, basically the same area. The sky was gonna be your new exploration. I did not.
Well, they thought it was going to be the Golden Land, the fabled Golden Land from Zelda lore, and it made a lot of sense. And I think it is an homage to the Golden Land, but it clearly isn't.
Didn't you expect like massive areas and all over the sky, not just the starting area?
That's what I thought. Yeah.
So I don't know how far you guys, but I've gone to. I think I did 9 towers. So you go up in the sky. Every tower or region is the same formula. You have an island with the bubble machine, with the, what do you call it, the gotcha machine. Yeah. In the middle, it has a thing you can turn that goes sends you flying.
Yeah.
And then you go to a near island, and it either has a shrine or it has a shrine quest where you have to grab a crystal. Every region has that same formula. I'm like, the first time my mind was blown. I'm like, oh, I got to get this crystal from here over there, so I got to figure out the best way to build a wing and glide.
It's not only in the sky, by the way.
Yeah.
Crystal.
I've noticed. I did one on the ground too, but I'm like, this is amazing. And then I did it again. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then the third time I was like, all right, fourth time, I'm like, I got to do this again. Like, I'm almost like not interested in going to the sky. That to me was the biggest surprise. The depths.
Yeah.
The depths was a huge surprise, but how little there is to do in the Sky Islands and how it's just a repeating formula, with based on the marketing and the trailers, that's just blows my mind that that's such a minor aspect of the game. So I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah,
about
I thought again, yeah, and I guess it was smart marketing because they didn't want to just show you Hyrule all over again.
Yep.
So I guess that was their thinking. So it was smart, but it's a little misleading. It's definitely a bit misleading. I'm mostly okay with it, but I definitely was hoping that it led to more story elements and it was a bigger thing than what it
might
is.
be asking for much, but I would have liked each Skyland to be completely unique and not just be rinse repeat.
I don't think that's much, especially when you're reusing the topography of Hyrule. I don't think it's much to ask for.
So I have not been back up there since the first time I've dropped because I've just been so interested in the surface and underground level.
Mm-hmm.
But have you been up to the highest point yet?
Yeah.
I think well, there's one area that there's a bunch of floating.
Is there something higher than the freaking blizzard causing tunnel?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I think Game Explain, because it was like, how high can you get? And they were using those little fucking floating things and see how it got to like 30 or 3,000 something meters. And it got so high it said you can't go any further.
Oh, really?
It showed up on the screen. I was holy shit. So they got really high. And I don't think it was much higher, if at all, than that funnel thing. That's pretty high.
Because it feels really cool, but it's that quickly to me. It's just been a steady deflate of that feeling because, like I said, I just did the one in the desert and it was the same main island. Shot me over here, and then there was like a chest, and then there was a shrine. Didn't have to do the shrine quest on that one. Then there's like a flower shaped island there's a side quest to that. There's one island that's way up high and I see it on the map and I haven't been able to get to it. Maybe that's later on.
Probably.
But you said Sandstorm, you've been spending so much time. That's the other big surprise. How different Hyrule actually is. I get lost constantly, and how much fun I'm having just exploring Hyrule again. Like I've been having like in the caves and then the depths is like the depths. I spent like 2 hours straight once, and I built a vehicle with the big tires, and I was 4-wheel drive. I was rock climbing with this thing, and I'm using actual vehicle rock climbing techniques to get over between like some areas that were like steep, and I'm like hit it at an angle, and I'm turning my tires, and I got up.
Your vehicle isn't affected by the corruption?
No, you drive right through it. And then I found stations that had parts, and I just kept adding batteries. I was on that thing for like 45 minutes, and finally I got to an area that's like a huge drop. It's like, fuck, I gotta let this thing go.
I'm still overwhelmed. Like I don't really understand batteries and all that shit yet. So
I was gonna say, how was that feeling the first time you dropped into a chasm and you're like,
I'm like, get me out of here.
Well, the first time was cool. The second time, I don't want to spoil anything, but it was an amazing moment. And just say I was accompanied by something on my way down, and it was just epic as hell. It just blew my mind. So I was like, I can't believe this.
Is there a possibility that we could miss that?
Yeah.
That would suck.
I mean, I'm guessing it happens It happens all the time. You just have to be in the right spot at the right time.
Right.
But yeah, it's the depths is definitely. I found a place where you.
It's terrifying.
I found a place to turn in your pose. Without.
I'm like, what am I getting all these poses for? What's the point of this?
I thought it was at the beginning area.
No, that one's different. That one's probably, I think, later. I think there's going to be something story related to that or side quest. But yeah, there's places where you can, involves climbing, but you can turn in your pose for like a new outfit and a couple of.
I haven't engaged anybody down there. I'm getting the fuck out. I'm treating it like Cauldros and Xenoblade Chronicles X.
It's actually not that bad if you have a lot of arrows and bright bulbs.
Well, I went down there pretty early. I did have a lot of. I went down there pretty early, and I didn't have much as far as weapons go.
12 Feet wants my thoughts on caves. Why you hate the game? I don't know why you want to. The caves
I
are cool, but I've only encountered a couple that were like actually involved. Most of them are pretty simple. You hit the
Really?
little glowing thing, but there's always good resources and stuff. I find the wells strangely more
I
satisfying.
like the
In
wells.
the wells,
Until you
there's
jump in
nothing.
a well and not realize you're heading to the
Yeah.
depths. Oh no!
Especially with all those rocks
I
when the
jumped in a
rocks
well
are
and it was like took me down to the
Oh,
depths. I was like, oh
really?
shit.
That's cool. But I
yeah.
don't know. There's not much in there usually, but it's just there's like this a couple where there's like somebody was growing pumpkins and stuff, and they leave notes. I don't know. I find it like I find it like a safe place to go, and I
Did
just
you did you find anything really useful in the depths yet?
Oh, in the
yeah.
depths.
There's the final ability in the depths, like Link's final
Oh,
ability.
I didn't know that, but
It's
I was talking about like clothing wise.
yeah. I found some clothing that helps light the way. I found some clothing that's old school.
You found that in the depths?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't find that. I didn't find
No,
that in the depths. I found that somewhere else.
I stayed long enough to be like, okay, this place is big. Okay, let me
Yeah.
get up out
Oh,
of here.
it's as big
There's
as
these places that
yeah.
are obviously
I
like
think I lit up like 4 or 5 of those things, those
they're
bulbs,
called
and I was like,
light roots.
light roots. I lit up. I was like, oh, okay,
I did
cool.
19.
I must have done a lot. I must have done a lot. And I look and I pull out of my map. It's just this little tiny area. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah,
I
I've
thought I was
unlocked
doing something.
19. This is my
I've
depths
probably done
map.
like 7 or 8. Okay.
So
Oh
that's
wow.
still not that
There's,
much, but I got some X's from
there's got to
treasure
be a
maps.
dungeon down there, no?
There's
There's got to
Oh
be a
man,
dungeon.
there's a
I was
central
gonna say if
area
there's a
that
dungeon down
I
there.
think is going to be a very tough fight.
Hmm.
So my Hyrule map, I can't zoom out any
I've
further.
seen some creatures
It's pretty
roaming
full.
that I know is going to be a tough.
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
You're
you're
yeah,
almost done.
you're similar to me then.
So I
Yeah.
got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 more towers.
Yeah, that's about what I have. 6.
Let's go to
Let's
yeah. The
start.
save doesn't tell you your hours. I've been taking a lot of photos,
Not yet. It won't tell you until midnight, I think.
trying to fill out my compendium.
Oh, you mean the save? Sorry.
Yeah, I thought maybe the save file might save, but it doesn't. I'm just looking through my photos, trying to think of stuff to talk about.
Yo, so the other Brand Smith brought this up earlier. Have you guys? How many like of your own inventions have you made from the years
Nothing.
and stuff? Nothing really.
Nothing.
Okay, so
Yeah, I just
so
got
you,
enough gear to even think about making that kind of stuff. I just got
You're talking
enough.
about just from things in the world, the resources lying around, made a bunch of shit, or you're talking about combining the
I made a
preset
wagon.
stuff.
That was part
yeah,
of a. That's part of a. What do you call it? Side quest. I made a wagon.
mhm.
That's
Yeah,
about it.
I fixed.
So
Go ahead.
so we were in the desert and
God, it's
we
so-
found one of those what are they called? Like the sled things, you know, that's
Mhm.
already got the. So I attached 2 of the wings on each side of those, added some fans underneath, put some fans behind to see if I could actually get the sucker to fly, and it like drained my battery before
Oh
it
yeah,
lifted off.
I've
So
upgraded. Sorry, go ahead.
I plopped like a bunch of batteries on it. Actually, it might have only been 3. Um, and I got that thing was flying. We call it the key swing instead of the bat wing.
See, I
But
thought you were sharing somebody else's.
mm-mm. Well, that he made that off of the one that I made.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So originally, yeah, we got it to go at the end of the stream, but I'm like, man, now that I know I can do that, like I'm next thing I'm making a tank, man. I'm making a tank. It's gonna
There's
happen.
my map.
Oh, geez, you got all the top.
That's all north, right?
Yeah.
I went. Oh, I didn't do the Akla region. I'm just wondering where that shrine is. So, talking about the shrines, most of them are pretty short and sweet, which I'm
Mhm.
not mad at. I haven't found one that I was like, oh my god, this is epic. But there's been some really clever ones, like really clever use of your abilities. Whether it's
Yeah.
only two areas you have to do it, I had to really use my head, like really think about
Mhm.
the solution. Like I really love that stuff. You saw the tweet I did where I was in a boat where I attached the wheels, and it was a strong current, and then I attached just these boards to the wheels to make paddles, and it was like doo, doo, doo. It just looked clumsy, but it got me. It got me to the other side, and I'm like
That satisfactory feeling.
that. It's almost like Nintendo's secretly making like learning tools with these games. With like, you have to really think about it. Like,
Mhm.
Huh. Era says they should go back to Hyrule one more time and give us a fully developed world to explore. I don't know. Like I said at the end of my Juice Opinions, I don't know about 5 or 10 times in a row. I was like, I just don't know what I would want them to do with the next game, but we still got to talk about this game. Um, there's a lot of cool stuff. I don't want to give specifics because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody.
Did you like the desert cave the desert shrine, the one that's like all the quicksand and
There's one where you go around on a vehicle you can make.
hmm
I'm less. It reminds me of Bayonetta 3. The sinking, the fast moving sand instantly drains your
yeah.
stamina. I don't
So I
love
feel
that area.
stupid now because it's like I didn't think they would basically not allow you to get through a shrine without something you're missing. Once you get all your abilities on this game's Great Plateau,
Mm-hmm.
you should be able to tackle anything you want.
Yeah.
Just it's up to
Well,
you.
you
So
gotta
I
have the
go to
parasail. You
one
gotta get the parasail
and the
first.
parasail, right? You got to have the parasail.
Yeah.
So I figured once you have all those things, you should be fine. But I've gotten to 2 shrines at least where I'm just like I don't know what to do, and I've gone through the gambit. Like I go in and there's like just a locked, like a door there, and I'm like, what am I not doing? What? How do I
There
get
was
through
one
this
I
door?
was stuck on, and
That's what the trouble with the wind temple is. It's like I don't know where to go. I have nowhere to do where to
I'm
go.
pretty sure there's one where you have to use Ascend to get into the room. But
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
I figured that out about one of
I
them too.
tried to ascend the entire ceiling, and it's just like
Mm.
nothing is working for
So
me. So
best thing I've done, did it in Gerudo Town to figure out how to get somewhere, is I get to the I can see the gate or whatever. I'm all right. I'm looking at the place I need to be. I mark that with a star on the map. That way I know when I'm underneath it. When I get back, when I'm like down to a floor or two, it still will show the star, and then I can move through the floors on the map. Oh, I'm directly below that now. I'm right close. Let me try ascend, and it worked. Um,
Mm.
but as far as the solutions, there was one where there was like, I got up and there was a ball and then there's a wing, and I'm like, why are they giving me this wing? As soon as I take the ball off, it's gonna close the door again or whatever. And I was like, and I don't remember the solution now. I can't think of.
that glider.
And I'm like, why are they giving me a glider here? And this was like the next day. I think it was Saturday last week, a week ago. I don't remember what the solution was, but it was like that moment, like, oh no shit, this is what it's for. Like, duh, this is what it's
Did
for.
did you have to attach the wing to the ball,
I
raise
don't,
it in the air, and let it
I,
fall and glide or
I
something?
don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember the solution, and I was just like, stupid. Why did it take me 5 minutes? But then there was one where you step on a switch and this big platform drops, and I'm like, what? There's nothing to set on the switch. I didn't notice that out of the 3 things above, like lanterns were dropping down that were unlit. So I had to figure out.
Ah,
I didn't notice it. It took me a while. I was like, I didn't notice what those were. Well, there's the first room. You light one of those. It teaches you to light one of these upside down like lantern things, and it just didn't think. Duh, that's what they just showed me. So why did I go through that door and immediately forget that that's what I just did? So everything's like, usually it's common sense, not common sense. I don't believe in common sense because if you don't know something, you don't know, and if you, it's just but it's usually a thing you would have to solve, like in the real world, a technique or something you would have to do, something you would have to do that actually works in the game, within the rules of the game. But I think overall the shrines, talking about aesthetics, I know Retro, he must have left because he hasn't been commenting. I think the new aesthetics of the shrine are very like pleasing. It's a very
I was
pleasing
gonna say the
color palette.
shrines
I
are
love the
10
music,
times better
everything.
looking
Yeah,
than the
the
original
colors,
shrines.
the music, the setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it repeats the setting, but I'm not sick of it yet. 66
Yeah.
shrines. I still find
It
it very
always looks
appealing.
like you're underwater though. That's what I really like
It's just a
about it.
Yeah.
pleasing color palette. Like it's just
Yeah.
pleasing to the
It's not
eyes.
dark. And I don't know how, again, I mean, some of them are very thematic, like they're themed as far as like they're not, yeah, sure they look similar, but there's certain spots in the shrines themselves where it feels like it's fulfilling a theme.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, like I said, the one shrine is like all quicksand. You're in the
Mm-hmm.
desert, so it's like, you know.
But and yeah, that battle arena shrine though,
I haven't
that threw
done
me
it.
for a loop, and I was like, oh, that's fucking cool. I want to see more of this.
There's ones where
And,
you have
and
to
it
just
uses those devices that you're talking about you haven't used yet, which I'm surprised that you get it before you've gotten it before you actually use it in the world itself. I felt like the game was keeping things like
no,
that from you
it's
until you actually use
you
them.
go to the different gacha machines, and that's how you access new ones. So as you go to the
Okay,
different Sky Islands and the gacha machines, that's where each
I
one
didn't
will have
realize that.
a couple new ones to get. So if you
Mm.
just visited all those right away, you'd have all the items I think you could get.
And in that shrine itself, that device seemed like it was, what's the word?
OP.
It was OP, but
Mhm.
it didn't like you couldn't destroy it, and you would think something like that. It would, after a while, it would,
Oh well, like the
do that little
glider
blinking thing and disappear.
but it
Um,
depends on your battery. So if you haven't upgraded your little hip thing, which I did,
okay, that's the thing. So in the shrine,
it's
it
probably
doesn't use
unlimited.
your battery,
Hmm.
so it was unlimited. So maybe that's what it is.
Because if you put two rockets and a fan on something, and it goes through your battery almost instantly, the rockets.
Yeah.
Yeah, the when they were doing the experiment on Game Explain, how high they can get, they were
Hmm.
using rockets, and yeah, it kills your
But
battery, and
if you want to
and it's
spend
limited.
about 2-3 hours, you can just fast travel back and forth. Well, you have to you have to collect a bunch of the zonites down in the depths, that
Mhm.
mineral. You can just go back to the sky, to the Great Sky Island, and you can buy the cells. And once you get to 100, then it upgrades your battery just one notch. You get another battery, and then some dude had like his whole bottom screen was battery. He looked like he had about 15 of them.
I was gonna say you get a lot of them.
But you have to mine the zonites, and then I mean, yeah, you just need a rock and a any sword or stick, but they don't last that long. Breaking ore, that shit
And
breaks pretty easily. So
unless
Yeah,
I don't know how
no.
to do it. That's one thing I wish as well, is that well, I guess they wouldn't let you do it because they want you to use those gotcha machines. But I wish that you could capture them like you would,
mm-hmm.
like a bottle where you can just scoop them up if you
Yeah.
see some somewhere.
What I
And you
do
wouldn't need those gotcha machines.
if I see
So
some rockets, I usually just pick my lowest shields and just attach a few rockets to
attach it
them.
to it, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, tip. I watched a video. I think it was Nintendo Life. You can attach a lot to your shield. Let's just say,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
Those little, you wouldn't think, but those little
mine
devices, those little,
carts. You can do
yeah,
mine carts, so
you
you
can
can
attach.
shield surf in a mine, like a miniature mine cart on a rail, like,
Yeah.
or you can
Even
just.
the wings make you jump higher when you go into the shield surf. You
Yeah.
jump just a little
See, I
bit
didn't. I
higher.
haven't attached a wing to the shield, but I'm guessing you can. So, because everything else you can, like you can do the sled, which makes it your shield surfing like on the sand way better. So, there's just a
I
lot of
noticed that
stuff, man.
you can do. There's a part in the sky. I'm sure most of you guys have probably seen it, where there's a rail and it's broken.
Mm-hmm.
Part of it's missing.
Mhm.
And I watched somebody else do it, and they did it completely different
Somebody
than what
just
I did.
walked across it.
Yeah, one dude I saw walk across it. Another person used a hook. How did they do it? They used a hook for one side,
Mine was jank.
and they put and they got inside the cart, and they attached, the ultra hand it, and they just used, they shot across that way, just using one rail. I just attached a whole bunch of carts
That's what
together,
I did.
and it rolled over it.
It
So
was pretty janky.
yeah,
And I didn't know how to detach. Because I had Pro HUD on the whole
yeah,
time. I didn't know how to detach. I thought that was an ability I was gonna get later, and I finally had to ask, and Robert's like, "Yeah, you just shake the right stick."
Yeah, you just shake it off.
Because I've been pro HUD since the inception. I've only had the HUD on once. Just I was curious about it.
Yeah.
I like that it's completely nothing, but it would be nice if you got down to like 3 hearts if they came on, because I've died so many times because I didn't know my health was low. And that's the only negative. I wish it would stay on if you got like 3 hearts, so that your incentive would be to heal. A lot of games do that when you have until you have full health. That keeps your health on screen. As soon as it's full, then it goes away.
Is Robert cooking?
Yeah, he said he had to cook.
Oh, he had to cook.
The game's hard, man.
Yeah.
Hardy
It
truffles.
is.
Definitely harder than Breath of the Wild.
Hardy
Yeah,
truffles are
definitely.
more precious to me than anything else in the game, because you get full health plus 1 heart no matter what you cook it with. Just one piece of steak and you get full health plus 1. And the ore, it's very hard to come by. They even story wise, they even say the ore is gone in the world, and it's like I have like 2,000 rupees now, but that's because I had stumbled upon like a gold mine of like topaz and sapphires in a couple areas. There's also I'll just say there's an area where hardy truffles are aplenty and resource like.
Well, yeah, there's usually places where there's a bunch of something.
It's I think it's the caves around Satori Mountain. There's a lot of good stuff in there.
That makes sense.
So, and it's
so what else is there? Because I finally went to a second ranch and realized, oh, I got to keep all my horses.
Yeah, you got to. That's the only thing.
Is it?
Did you go to the ranch that's not a ranch anymore and it's something else?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a cool side quest.
That's pretty cool.
That one forces like I have not gone. I went to a stable and it's like, oh, in this southern tropical area, there's been sightings of Zelda. I'm like, fuck, I didn't plan on going there anytime soon, but man, the gear you get for doing that, it's like you can climb.
That Zelda sighting thing better lead to something. It annoys me.
Did you see the pirates yet?
I haven't.
Okay.
So you've seen the pirates? Okay.
No, I have not. But I was told
you spoke to somebody that they.
Yeah,
I was a little mad that IGN.
So he's talking to the same person I talked to.
IGN spoiled that in their review.
Village.
Otherwise, I'd be yelling at you right now, but it was already spoiled for me. And IGN's, the spoil-free review. We're very sensitive. You need to experience things for yourself. 30 seconds later, it was really cool that Loreline Village is infested with, pirates. I'm like,
they did say that.
Yeah.
Bastards. That's right. I remember being mad about that.
You guys have spoiled it, and I just reconfirmed it.
Maybe that's why it was subconsciously in my mind, because they spoiled it for me.
Because I was like, I wanted to find that.
But I haven't seen them. I don't know anything.
Yeah, I don't know what they look like or anything.
A person early in the game says it, so I didn't think it was a big deal to say.
I didn't find Hetsu. I missed. There's literally a small quest with him that I missed. He's outside by the first glyph you get that Imp is at. I thought I saw him, and I was like, I'll come back later. Then he was gone. Well, I watched Gab Smulders play, and she found him, and there was a quest to do. And
he's in some obscure, it's not like a special area. He was just chilling on the side of the road, basically.
Yeah, that's where he was. What? But then if you miss him, which like I did, and you get enough Koroks, he just ends up in a spot, and he's always there apparently.
Okay.
The thing that annoys me, this is like such a nitpick. He doesn't know who you are again. Like, come on.
That bothered me.
There's other characters that should know who Link is that don't know who he is. I'm like, what the hell? There's others that do, but there's too many that don't.
You're Link. I'm like, who the hell are you? How do you know
the
my name?
The fairies don't know you. They act like they've never seen you before.
I was going to ask you about the Great Fairy.
That's a cool. I love the quest for that.
Maybe in the real version, the Great Fairies. I don't know. I feel like that's real ridiculous too.
What?
Like if you've seen them in the game, you would assume that everything that you can do in Breath of the Wild like happened to him, whether you played the game or not. So, like you said, the Great Fairies.
You just reminded me.
Like that should be a thing. They shouldn't have amnesia, and unless the game specifically told you he never met the Great Fairies or those
Right.
people. Yeah.
But
That is my gripe because if you play Breath of the Wild, and I had no idea, I just looked at my stable. And I'm like, oh, all my horses are here. So
right.
I didn't know that was going to be a thing because of obviously my Breath of the Wild save. So why doesn't that apply to other things?
like the
You
gear,
know,
like
like
I said,
my fucking gear, right? Like,
Right.
where's my house?
I haven't
Where I
gone to
had
that
shit
area.
hanging up on the wall. I haven't gone there, so it might
That
actually still be there.
that
I don't know.
that should be there. But yeah, I agree. There's a one set of gear. There's a story thing I think you can do to make it less. It's 5,000 rupees per piece of.
Yeah.
I'm like, get the hell! I have those. Like,
No.
why do I have to re-buy the things I had from the first game? If you're gonna have the same gear,
Right.
now a lot of it there's quests for you'll run into a lady and she'll mark on your map, and you can get some of the old gear for free. But
Yeah. Well, is there Sheikah gear in this game?
it's
the sneaking gear, like the
Sheikah,
thought it was-
Sheikah Tech, all
I
that
thought it
stuff
was
that was
now
oh
in
the
Breath of the
ancient. You're
Wild.
talking about the ancient stuff.
The ancient stuff. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
because you have the Sheikah, the sneaking suit. That's the overpriced stuff.
Yeah,
But
I'm sure.
there's no
Well, I found
mention of the.
The frog suit.
There's the ancient weapons. You do get the ancient weapon.
You do?
I got
ancient?
one. I got one. I have an ancient arrow.
Really?
That kind of bothers me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
where did all the
So-
shrines and the divine beasts go? I hope there's something story related that tells you what happened.
I think you're just gonna ignore it and act like
Did the
it didn't
shrines at
happen.
the end though? Did the shrines go back down? Because at the end of the game, that cutscene with Zelda and Link, I don't think there was any shrines.
I don't remember shrines sinking back into the desert or anything, or back into
But
the
I think
ground.
in that last shot, they had already looked like the shrines had gone down. It's been a while since I beat the game, so I don't remember.
And
but,
that would be fine.
Like
I
where'd
just
the
don't remember.
towers go? Like they go back underground completely. It'd be
Towers.
cool. It'd be cool if just the tops were still exposed.
Right.
Just, I mean, this is like complete nitpicky stuff, but
Yeah, that's nitpicky. This is nitpicky stuff. That's but I don't think the gear stuff is nitpicky, especially when you bring back all my goddamn horses. Bitch, I got Ganon's horse. I can run around in in the
Right.
game, and I can't have my weapons or my outfits.
You know what? I realize you know when you actually get that is when if you pay attention to the first time you go to the ranch,
you mean the stables?
the stables, yeah. They say, do you want to sign up? Blah 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 blah. If you go back to him again and talk to him again, like, you've been registered here before.
I did not pay attention to that at all.
And then he'll give you another point for all
the pony points.
And the only
It is
reason
another pony point.
the only reason I knew that I had my horses was I captured one
Yeah,
and it was fine, and then I found another one, an awesome looking horse, and it's like, oh, your stable's full. I'm like, what? And I had to, and that's when I found out, and I'm
I
like,
got Zelda's horse. I got
Ganon's
horse. I got Epona.
yep,
Like
me too, and I have them
I got
again.
everything.
And I was like, man, I let go of a horse that one of the first horses I got, and then I was like, I just kind of switched back and forth. But now, because I have enough points, I got an additional spot, so I added another horse.
Yeah, I like that.
And you can get at least one more. He keeps telling me the next reward is another horse slot. And that's another thing. They definitely changed the landscape, so there's less climbing involved.
Mm-hmm.
I can take my horse just almost anywhere I want and need to go, other than the desert. Yeah. Oh, there's a tower up there. I can get the horse almost all the way, like Satori Mountain, all that. They made paths, and it's the story element is, hey, the upheaval changed the landscape. But it feels to me like they maybe realized that people had to constantly get off their horse, and then like, wow, where's my freaking horse? It's way back over here now.
Yeah,
might as well just go to the stable and take out a new one.
And it makes a statement, like, I guess I get it, where it's like, oh, it's not, the whistle isn't magic. You can't just whistle at any time and your horse appears.
But they do hear you from a longer, like, there's no, hey, your horse doesn't hear you. 30 seconds
Yeah.
later, here comes my freaking horse. It just had to go.
Yeah,
It had to take the appropriate route from where it was to where I
Yeah.
am. And
bro, what happened to you?
yeah,
I caught
Like,
I caught you 5 hours
if it
ago.
was
I'm like, I can whistle anywhere in The Witcher, and my roach will show up, bitch.
what's the other game where you just have to turn away and whistle or whatever, and you turn back and it's instantly there? Oh,
Darksiders 2 also.
there's a
Yeah.
game that I played that in the last year that was that.
Oh,
There's
is
other
that Elden Ring?
no other Elden Ring. Just it's a magic horse. It just appears on
Okay.
like
Well,
under
so it
you.
is. It's just like Darksiders 2. It's a
But
magic
there's
horse.
one where it isn't a magic horse. It's just like we know that you need. Horizon does that with your steed, I believe. If you turn
Does,
away, if you turn your back and whistle and then
Yeah.
turn back immediately, it's there. But there's another game that was
is it
doing that
Ghost?
where it's just like Ghost of Tsushima do that too, where it's just like it just comes from the behind you no matter where
The
you
void.
are.
It just comes from the void from behind you.
Yeah, and it's like I get it, it's just a convenience thing for gaming, but I like that they didn't just say a horse did not respond. It's like
Or they wouldn't even have stables, right? They wouldn't even. What would be the point?
Right.
Having stables. I mean, I guess one stable would be enough because you just put all your. It just be about you putting your horses somewhere, and then you can just call them wherever you want. Like.
yeah.
So I
Yep.
understand why they don't do that. Because
And
they want
I
the
like
stable.
the stable, the music's. I love the stable music, especially the few areas where there's once you get the band together, it's really cool.
You ever notice Link's whistling during?
Yep, when he's
cooking?
cooking, and
Yeah.
one of them.
One of them is
it the
Lon
forest?
Ranch.
Yep. I think one is do 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 like
Yeah.
Saria song.
It's
Yeah.
all going to
Zelda
something.
song.
It's not
You
random at all.
That's
pretty
that shit's cool. There's a lot of cool little touches. It is. I guess get back to the
Because in Breath of the
controls.
Wild, it was just right. But
Yep.
now it's just like he's using old Zelda music,
Yep.
which is very cool.
I will say there's a bit of lagginess to the weapon wheel when you hold L.
Yeah.
And
I've
you
noticed that.
hold L and I hit right and it's like nothing. And then I let go and I'm like, shit, I'm on the time. Then I hit L and it takes like a second to pop up and then I hit right and I'm like, finally it goes over.
How many thousands of times have you resorted your items?
Oh yeah,
on accident.
Yeah.
I do it all.
They
the
changed
time,
it. Before it was just hit twice and it would always go by type, but now they would have the most used and one other group. And
I'm constantly reshuffling my freaking.
yeah, I got OCD about that. I need to, as soon as I pick up an item, I go hit plus and I sort it.
Yeah, it's a great game. It is great.
It is. It's definitely addicting.
I love the Zonai design too. I love
Yeah,
Rauru.
I always like. I mean, I like the Zonai in Breath of the Wild. I was like, this is very interesting. Why are they doing something with this? I guess they heard people say that. Like, made a whole game
Sonya.
based on the Zonai.
I don't have a profile for her. That's weird. The Queen of Hyrule.
What do you think about the fact that a Hylian woman got down with a goat creature, a Zonai goat man?
Yeah.
Oh, what's up with that, right?
I don't know.
Because interspecies mixing happens in sci-fi or games and stuff too.
Yeah,
So,
like Star
I guess it's
Trek
fine.
and Stargate and all
well, I
those.
was thinking even like Mass Effect and shit.
Yeah.
So, question.
He looks so
Well,
much
I
like
think
a goat.
I think both of you guys are a little bit further than I am. So finding out that Roru was this.
Yeah, that bothered me too.
Yes.
You can't just bring Raru back and turn him into a goat.
No,
Raru, I know, is an old dude with a
dude,
yeah. What's up
Gibora,
with this?
Gibora,
Yeah. All right, Nintendo, you gotta stop reusing stuff. You gotta come up with new things.
So I'm like, okay, is this what he originally is?
Right, that's what's in my head. It's
I don't
like,
know what you guys are talking about, so.
Raru is a long-standing sage.
Oh,
the guy-
okay. From the
yeah,
other
he's
games
the-
you're talking about. I thought something
from
was
other
going to
games.
happen.
He's from
In Ocarina of Time, he's the main sage in the beginning that you talk
Yeah.
to. He's the old Santa Claus.
So they
looking
took
cat.
a familiar name and made a new character around it, basically.
Basically,
No,
yeah.
he's the same character. It's the same guy,
It's
is it
the
not?
same dude. I
Oh,
thought it
is
was the
it?
same dude.
It's the same
He
guy.
was the King of Hyrule, or original King of Hyrule. Or did they add
Yes,
that in this?
he's no. I think they added
That's
that
new. That's new.
because he was also he was the owl. You know, the owl.
Yeah,
Oh, he
the
was the
owl.
owl. Okay.
Yeah, so that was like his. So then I was like, okay, so maybe that makes more sense as to why he looks like this if he can be able to change how he
Yeah, but
looks.
say that. Like, don't just throw out
And
Rauru. Bitch, I know
yeah,
who Rauru is. Like, you
you know,
can't just, you can't just throw him out there. That did bother me a little bit. I was like,
and
you're
the
not
fact that
Rauru.
he was, because they say he's a sage. That's
Yeah.
that's what threw me off too. Because when you're on the Great Plateau of this game,
Mhm.
they're like head to the Temple of Time. You're like, wait a minute.
Oh,
That
the
ain't the
Temple of
Temple
Time.
of Time.
I was
That's
gonna
what I
say,
said.
I do
Wasn't
not like this Temple of Time at
wasn't
all.
wasn't the Temple of Time down at the Great Plateau? Like, so what is this?
We already had a Temple of Time. What is this?
I thought that was a weird decision, but
That
it
was my
looks really
least
cool.
favorite decision.
Yeah, I thought it
I
was
I like how it
stadium
looks.
at first.
Really, I don't like the design even. Like,
Yeah, I thought it was.
that's when
stadium.
you're overusing your old shit. You just used the Temple of Time in Breath of the Wild. What are you doing?
Right.
Like, why are you making another one?
Like they didn't even explain the old. Well, they explained the Temple of Time in Breath of the Wild, but they never explained like why is there another Temple of Time?
Yeah, why
Is
is there
there
another one?
multiple temples of time now,
Well,
or
there's multiple links and multiple Zeldas, and so multiple kingdoms. So I guess there's multiple temples of time. I don't know. You can't do that to Zelda lore dudes. Like, that bothers me. It gets on my nerves.
That
Yeah, it threw
I
me
guess
off,
that
man.
didn't. I
So
just
now
thought
that brings up the question: if Rauru looks like that, does that mean the other sages look like that too?
Yeah, are they gonna bring it to other Sage and it'll look
I don't
completely
know.
different? Because
We've seen
every
them.
iteration of Zelda and Link, they all look similar.
Mhm.
So why are you changing how the sages look? Drastically changing. You
Yeah,
made him
you
a
know,
Zonai, and he looks like a goat man.
yeah,
Oh, it looks cool though. I like the design a lot.
No, he looks cool, but
Yeah.
you're calling him Rauru. That's my problem.
right. He's a sage on top of that.
And he's a sage. So
So
you're telling me a goat sage married? Like, when is this lore? You can add
Oh.
lore, but you can't use existing lore and change it. So when did Rauru become a goat and marry the queen of Hyrule and be the first king of Hyrule? Like, I got some issues. Just make some
I
new
don't know.
I
characters,
don't
man.
know. That stuff doesn't. Obviously,
Yeah,
I
it
didn't
doesn't
even
bother
know.
you, and it doesn't bother most people. I would say it doesn't bother 80% of the people who play Zelda. But for somebody like me who's deep in the lore, I mean, they talked about the imprisoning war.
Mhm.
That's some deep Zelda lore shit right there. Like,
Mhm. They were
you
all
probably
Yeah.
saw that, and you were like, "What's that?" No, the imprisoning war is like, I want to hear Triforce Johnson and what he thinks about this. I wish he was still around, like, because we used to do podcasts
Oh,
with
I
him. and
remember him. Yeah, he knew the lore.
He knew the lore. I want to hear what he has to say about this. So
Yeah, that whole part. You notice, I haven't gone back there. You can or not, but there's some rocks that you can smash to find out more about that stuff. They just kind of like innocently let you walk past it. You're like, what is
Right.
that? I
Like,
wish
what
I had
is-
a bomb.
yeah.
Oh yeah, down in the depths. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
At the beginning. What a
Yep.
what a opening.
man.
I didn't think Ganondorf was gonna instantly have his power though. Like he just was like completely.
And what do you think about his voice acting?
Sounds good so far.
I thought it was pretty good. I was
Yeah.
I
surprised.
didn't like it
I
in
was
that
worried.
trailer.
He definitely rocked Link in that first scene. I'm
He
like,
was menacing, bro.
ooh.
I'll just say I found
He was
I've
like, "Bitch, please."
I found
was
him
like, "Damn."
one of the tier memories. It jumped to 10. It was memory 10. I thought they're all going to go in order. All of a sudden, it went to 10, and yeah, you get some quality Ganondorf.
I would say that's my gripe. When it comes to Ganondorf, I mean, I haven't played much of the game, but I don't like the fact I want him to be impacting on the world right now, like the world I'm moving around in, and I want to see his impact.
In some ways,
know?
that happens.
I want to see him dredging up armies, and I run into him in the field
That would
every
be
once
kind
in
of
a
cool,
while.
but
That would be
No,
cool.
that would
Let's
be.
just say
that
keep
would be
playing
so
keep playing the
wild.
game.
Yeah,
So,
I'm basing it off of very short playtime. So,
What if you did though? What if you really? What if you ran
bruh.
up and you were like, "Who is that?" And you ran up and he just turned around. You're like,
Huh?
it's
Oh shit!
it's like
It's like,
it's like the Guardians but worse. You're
oh,
like,
I thought you were gonna
"Whoa,
say
no problems."
it was like for me it was like running into Darth Vader at the end of
yeah.
Jedi Fallen Order. Like, oh shit! Oh, I can't touch you. I tried to, but clearly I can't do anything here but run.
Well,
Other
there is
sentence,
an
there you
enemy.
are. I found.
We didn't talk about like the new enemies at all. Have you
Yeah, that would
encountered
be
any like
spoiler.
demonic creatures that are basically grab you a lot? You know what I'm talking about?
The likes.
No, they're
Uh,
Oh, those
demonic and
the hands
yeah,
things.
the
They're in
hands.
the game. Oh, sweet,
uh,
You
sweet.
didn't.
oh,
I ran into
the
them
like the
all the
shadow
time.
hand.
No, it's something different. But
Uh,
let's just say,
They come through the ground. I'm guessing
let's just say,
Shadow Masters. That's what they were
the
called.
if
shadow
you can
hand or something
get
like that.
if
Yeah,
you can get high ground, if you can take one out,
some good loot.
I'll be able to tell you more. That's all. That's all I'm saying. But
When you get there and you fight it, okay, that's enough.
yeah. Other than that, there's some cool new enemies in caves, like the horriblins, whatever. But in the outside, I'm surprised those winged creature things. One hit and they're dead. They don't. They're
Yeah, I was hoping for more.
they don't fit I don't think their design fits within the world either. They don't look like the same. They look like aliens in this world. They just don't fit to me.
I think the design fits for certain parts of the world, but
They're just
most places you
pointless.
see them.
They're easy to kill.
I think they would have been better for just the depths, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Did you run into the one where? Well, I think you had to have by now. Where he's carrying the device that you need for the tower.
No,
You run into that? Oh, you haven't run
I
into
don't
that
think
one.
so.
Oh. It's way.
It's gotta be the Akla region then, because that's the one there you were.
Oh yeah, that's probably where it is. But it's like you think it would be better, but it wasn't a big deal at all. It was pretty lame.
Yeah.
I was like, if you're gonna do this, do it, man. Like,
Yeah.
it was
Other
kinda
than
lame.
that, the boss, bokoblins are awesome. I love those. They look
Oh,
cool.
the
They're
big
tough.
belly.
See, I
They're
thought they were
way
gonna be
tougher.
annoying like an Age of Calamity, but I really liked them. I really
Are
like
they
died
tougher
so
than
much, man.
Hinoxes?
them.
Are they tougher than Hinoxes?
They're different. They're definitely tough.
Hinoxes are easy because they're slow.
Right. Oh, so these are faster.
They're faster. Yeah, they'll come
They're
up
not
on
as
you.
big
Like,
as a Hinox.
they're not as big, but they're big. But they're just as deadly
But
because fucking one
there's
hit you, you're done.
there's times they have like a troop of bokoblins behind them, and there's one
Yeah,
where they're all carrying shields.
full armor. If
And
you
as
run into those
as
bitches,
soon as you encounter them, they all surround their boss and form a shield
Yeah.
wall. I was like, you motherfuckers!
Wow.
Bomb
Yep.
arrow.
Right.
but
Get
there's
out
some
the way.
goblins that are in full fucking armor.
Yeah, those ones are tough.
You can't do anything with them bitches.
You have to have a
gotta shoot
hammer.
with a hammer or a bomb arrow is the only way you can get through them. There was that one area that it's in the trailer where the fucking spike ball comes down
Yeah,
and you reverse
yeah.
it. I went to that shit and that was tough. I probably died 5 or 6 times up there trying to
I
kill
think I
those
died
bitches.
more, but it saved.
Really?
It saved after I climbed up to like a higher ground next to some
Yeah.
explosive barrels. It saved me right there, so I just kept. I would throw the barrels, and I died probably 5, 6 times just in that one spot.
Yeah, the bitch would pick up the barrel and toss
He
it at
threw
me. I
a
didn't even know.
explosive barrel at me, and
Like, fuck.
but other than that, there's not. I was a little disappointed that it's the exact same music for the Hinox or whatever.
Yeah.
That I never liked it, and it's just literally the same. The horse, when you ride the horse, it's the same exact music. It's great music, but I've heard that so much. I was hoping for a little more, like a remix or something. But other than that, I finally beat a Lionel. They kicked the first two, just destroyed me. There's a Lionel with that rock armor in the depths. And the first time I fought him, I got the armor off and I got his health down a decent amount. I tried 10 more times and I couldn't even get the armor off him. Like, he just destroyed me and I finally just gave up.
Wow.
Then there was a white main Lionel in the Hebrew region. Yeah, I did not have the weapons.
Have you ever been down there and got through a tough battle in the fucking Red Moon?
No, not when I was downstairs.
Pops up on you in the depths.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Blood Moon while I was down there.
Blood Moon, yeah.
Yeah,
Honestly, I don't know. That's why I was asking it. I don't know.
I don't think it does.
I haven't
No, it
really
does.
engaged anything down there.
I had the whole Blood Moon thing happen right as I was leaving. Like, get glad I'm here.
Oh,
I'm
you
not
can
doing
use.
this
Oh,
over
that's
again.
right. You can use the Ultra Hand on any item, basically. Ayers
Yeah.
used it to take bomb flowers out in front of them for the Molduga. That's a good idea. You'd have to set them down
Oh.
first. You got to go in your menu, hold, and drop, and then pick them
Hope
up.
it, and hope it doesn't roll.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why you missed those square bombs, man. I missed them.
I had
bitches.
there's plenty of fail moments for me, trying to fly and do other things, but there's some really funny ones on Twitter. But I stopped watching those because I kept seeing too much stuff I didn't want to see.
Mhm.
Overall, though, I mean, they did it to me. They did it. It's a proper sequel. I can't wait. Robert said the story was amazing, but he says that about a lot of things. I believe him in this situation because I'm already loving what I've seen.
Yeah. Game of the Year material.
Oh yeah.
No, I've heard that though. I've heard the ending is pretty mind blowing, and the concept of Tears of the Kingdom makes sense, but only at the ending. So I'm trying to figure out why Nintendo wanted to hide that name, because they started with spoil stuff, but most people are saying you'll only understand that at the end game. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm like earlier before the podcast, I teleported out of the desert trying to chase a star fragment, like I mentioned, and I'm back in Hyrule with the grass and stuff, and I just like, oh, I'm back to like getting sucked in it. Like, oh, I didn't get the shrine. Well, I just did a shrine. It was a beginner shrine that I might they expect you to run into right away, and then there's a depths right there, which I dropped down in and hit the light route. They kind of figured most people would go that way. I didn't. I like saw a stable. I saw some horses, and then I went to the lookout landing. I didn't go in though, and I tried to do a shrine where you needed the parasail to send you up from a fan. Oh, this is the game telling me, hey, you shouldn't be here unless you go back the other way. And but yeah, it's just I don't have
pretty much
any desire
How did
to
you
like
start off?
huh?
How did T? How did you start off?
Oh, you're muted.
How did what?
How did you start off? Like after you took that first descent, like where did you go?
I went straight to the little encampment or whatever
Pura.
outside the castle.
Mm-hmm.
Or yeah, I figured that that should be my jump off. So go through that story stuff first before I take off, and I'm glad I did, because I wouldn't have had the glider and shit. So
Right.
I don't know what you could do trying to go through the game, and I almost don't even like that they put that down there. It should be up top with everything else.
Yeah.
Or they should have had you land, and
And you
like
can't
no matter
leave the
where you
area.
landed within that, because you had to fall down into the water. Pura, somebody was right there to say, "Hey, Link," and it.
Right.
But
yeah, I went to the Great Plateau. I mean, well, after getting the glider.
did you? I've
Yeah.
basically stayed in that area and went north.
I haven't been
West.
to the Great Plateau.
It's-
So have you gone?
I just went there.
Is the Temple of Time still there?
Yeah, but the Shrine of Resurrection, there's nothing in there. It's like completely changed.
Yeah.
None of that tech is there.
Yeah.
She pretty much tells you like, come find me. You want to use me, but I can't do that. You gotta come find me.
I will say there is a really cool quest that starts on the Great Plateau, but you have to trigger it, and I'm curious if Robert did, because he said that he's gonna go back now he beat it and try to do some side stuff, but it's just one of those things you have to try to talk to something or try to do something, and then it's like it didn't even tell you it was a quest. It's just like it's like,
the
hey,
minute I left Lookout, whatever depths area is closed, I just jumped down into that shit just
Did
to
you?
see what it was like. And I was like, oh shit, let me get out of here.
That was like scary because it's like you don't do a parasail this whole way because I can't see the ground.
Yeah.
Right.
It takes too long.
Yeah.
So I just
Yeah.
said fuck it and kept going as far as I felt comfortable.
But yeah, it's a hell of a game, and
But if you're falling like this, does it automatically come out at the end like it
No.
did in Breath of the Wild? It doesn't.
I don't
You just
think
die.
so. I think
I'm
you
gonna
die.
try it. I haven't tried it yet, but in Breath of the Wild, if you're falling like that, you know, you're not diving or something. If you're doing the skydive thing, at the last minute, your parasol will come out.
I didn't think it did.
Oh no, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Oh really?
Yeah, it doesn't.
No, it does in Breath of the Wild. I know it for sure.
Not in Tears of the Kingdom.
So not in Tears of the Kingdom, just let you die.
I don't know in Breath of the Wild. I've
Well,
died from falling before.
It still has that. If you pop at the last second, you'll. Still...
I use it at the last
like, if
second.
you're just jumping and falling like this, yeah. But if you're falling in that special kind of,
but you couldn't fall like that in Breath of the
hang
Wild.
glide way.
You didn't have that option. You just had feet first or diving into the water. You didn't have a. You didn't have.
I remember my parasol coming out last minute.
I always hit it. I always tap
look.
it. You can tap like one of my internal games I would play with myself is jump off and try to do the like at the last second and just tap it. And
that's
and I got it down. You know, every once in a while I wouldn't. I'd take damage, but I got pretty good.
Does anyone in chat remember your parasol automatically coming out?
Nah, you're dreaming.
I'm pretty sure about that. I'd put some money on it.
Your hands were automatic. That's what it was. You put your hands were automatic.
Let's put some money on it right here. Here we go. Let's go.
T, that's rent.
Rent. Rent is so far back in my history.
You know, I've never paid rent. I've never rented. I've only
never
from parents' house to my house. But I lived there till I was 27, so
it still counts.
If I was a normal person, I would have had rent. But I
got my $10,000 PC. There's a deep cut for you. $10,000 PC.
That was Zaire, wasn't it?
Tales of it.
Wasn't that Z that had a $10,000 PC and then he didn't even use it?
I'm not a PC gamer. What can I say?
Dude had dual 55-inch OLEDs as his like computer monitors a couple years ago, like, and when they weren't cheap.
He just buys shit, you know. Like you don't really pay on PC like that. Why are you spending all that money? It's your business. I don't care. But
yeah, I was trying to boot up the CEMU, but it's taking forever to load the cache. I was gonna jump off something and show you that.
Some people out here bragging about their 4K 60 gameplay of Tears of the Kingdom.
I was just gonna jump off and show you that it didn't automatically parasail. But anyway, we'll get out of here. We'll be talking about this game for a long time.
Yeah.
I just realized that the Into the Spider-Verse sequel comes out this Friday, I think. Talk about movies.
Is it this Friday?
I believe it's this Friday because the press has started.
Dang.
Haley Steinfeld, man, she was on.
I thought Little Mermaid was this week.
It is. It's this Friday.
I didn't know that coming to theaters or Disney Plus.
No, it's theaters.
It's theaters.
Oh,
really? I thought that was Disney Plus movie.
Ouch.
I gotta say though, I thought the trailer kind of hit me with the feels because I'm a huge fan of the animation, like the animated movie. I thought the last trailer, I thought, man, that actually looks pretty good.
The reviews I saw were good. I thought it was gonna be a total piece of shit, but I was worried about the CGI. It looks pretty good from what I was hearing. So
glad they put Melissa McCarthy, Ursula.
She's Ursula.
I thought she was gonna be terrible, but everybody's saying she's great. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm surprised.
I don't have my controller plugged in.
Now, the problem is Flounder and Sebastian looking like real animals.
Oh, jeez.
That's what happened in Lion King, and it's just weird, bro. It's weird.
But anyway, let's get out of the podcast and
we start talking about that shit.
Yeah. Talk to you guys next week, probably.